What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Juice is Loose podcast, number 157. We're here. We got one person back, and we lost another, so Retro Death's back. Robert is on a cruise. He doesn't know where he was going. But he's somewhere. So
we'll see his ass again.
So, you know, he didn't pay for that trip if he didn't know where he's going. But, yeah, so it's just the four of us, and I thought, you know, I kind of didn't really plan. I know some of the topics I want to talk about, but I guess we can start with that recently announced game. T just had a video on. I wasn't aware of it, but it's just another game getting confirmed for the Switch, and it seems like hopefully this isn't just a little more modernized, I guess, from what I saw of the original game. I never played it, but it's cool that more diverse type of games coming, more games getting announced for 2018. Now, I don't know who's developing this. Was it Square or publishing?
Square, I think, is publishing.
Yeah, it was Eidos Interactive, but
where's the rest of the Japanese companies stepping up here for Switch games? But
Square only has 2 games, to be fair, so it's not like not like they're doing the best of jobs.
I thought they had like 3 or 4 confirmed.
Well, this game actually is not. This is not Square or Eidos anymore. They just acquired the IP, I guess, and they're doing the remake themselves. It's a new company. I can't remember the name right now.
Oh, really? I thought.
Yeah.
Sushi is what it's called.
That doesn't sound right.
Well, it's called Sushi CEO. Let me make sure. No, that's Square Enix.
So was it originally published by Square then?
It was originally published by Eidos Interactive. This is before Square bought them, so it was just Eidos on their own.
And someone just said in the chat that EA announced a new Switch game today at Gamescom. You want to see that?
Oh, I didn't hear anything about that.
I didn't hear anything from EA.
Look.
I'm scrolling. All I saw was fucking FIFA stuff earlier.
Of course, they can't put a link.
Oh, Zoink. That's what it's called.
Zoink.
No, it's called FE. My bad. I'm fucking up today. Jesus Christ.
The company who's making the remake?
No.
Oh, that's that one of the indie game that they showed off last year at E3.
Yeah,
I'm all confused.
I'm gonna link it in the chat.
Okay. I'll link it in the live chat, or
no. I mean the
I'll link it in the live chat so people can see it.
It's called FE, I guess.
Yeah, no, I remember that wasn't that this year's. That was that last year's. It was to follow up that Unraveled. It was that part of that. What do they call that? EA's program for like indies and stuff.
Oh, the independent. Yeah, I forgot what it's called. Yeah, I know what you're talking
about. EA
about.
Originals.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, Sushi is the name of the company doing the Fear game, the Fear remake, or Fear Effect.
Yeah, let's get back to that game. Yeah. So, T, you did a little video. You played the originals. Retro, did you ever play?
Never heard of it.
Okay, I'm in that same boat. I'm guessing Trell.
Wow.
Same.
I heard of it because one of the Let's Player I follow fucking did a Let's Play on the game like 2 years ago, and I was like, oh, I didn't realize that was a game important enough.
It does have kind of a
it's
anime
a cult following.
style.
It wasn't like a big, major release or anything. It acquired a cult following after it came out. It wasn't like it was, well known. I didn't realize that so many people hadn't heard of it before. Though it was kind of surprising.
There's some pretty sexy anime chicks in there from the old.
Exactly. That's
even look pretty good on the PS1.
Come on, guys.
Yeah. That's the thing about it. It's like it was. I'm always attracted to original looking games, and especially on the PS1, that was a very original looking game, and so that's why I started paying attention to it. I remember seeing it like in PlayStation Magazine or something. I saw it in, and I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. And you know how they do in those magazines, they they make they get the real like sharpest
high-res image
capture. Yeah, high-res image. Like, oh, that looks amazing, but you get the game, it's not that great as far as visuals. But yeah, go ahead. What were you saying?
I was gonna say, how do you feel the concept artwork for the main character compared to the original game?
You mean that the trailer? What they
Yeah.
showed? Yeah. That's the thing that worries me, man. Because
Feels like they
I should have
lost.
said that in the video, but I'm a little worried about them going away from the animated style because it was so much. It was so. That's one of the things. It was a very expressive. The characters were very expressive, and they had unique, looks to them, and it looks like they're taking away from that. I'm worried about like what gameplay direction they're going to go because, like I said, it's very Resident Evil style, like with pre-rendered backgrounds, and you kind of come in with all these stylized camera angles, just like Resident Evil. And I'm worried. I don't know if they're going to go with the just full-on kind of a 3D behind the shoulder thing. I don't know what they're going to do. Or are they going to actually use that same style? Which I wouldn't mind them changing it if it looks good, but I'm worried about how it looks now because of that trailer. So
I was surprised how good it looked on the PlayStation 1, that footage you were showing.
Yeah.
Like
that was
unless that was like an up-res off PC or something.
No. That was straight from PlayStation. I mean, you just got to get the best, capture setup for those old systems, and it'll come out pretty decent. But if you played it on because a lot of people don't even realize PlayStation 1 games will work in your PS3.
Yeah.
And if you play it on PS3, it looks like total ass.
Really?
So, I wouldn't recommend, playing a PS1 game in the PS3. I don't know what it is. You would think that it would work because, it would go into your HDMI and it look good, but no, still looks like shit.
So
I don't know what's up with
that. Yeah, we don't know much about this game and it's one of those things too where it may never even come to fruition. Like, I mean,
right.
Problems. Switch version could be canceled or something, but at this point, it's cool that kind of like I said, it's a kind of diversifies the Switch lineup, something different based on what direction they take it. So I guess no one else.
I just love the world of it. It's a very not really science fiction, but it has that kind of a sci-fi feel to it.
I looked some footage up from it. It reminds me a bit of Perfect Dark somehow, the world.
Yeah, there's some Perfect Dark mixed in with a little I don't know if you guys have played this series, The Longest Journey. I mentioned this a few times, one of my favorite series too. It has that kind of feel to it too. So very interesting storyline and like I said, visual setup. I hope it doesn't lose that, that stylized nature of it in this remake.
Yeah, I wasn't when I saw the trailer first before I saw any gameplay of the original. I was like, it did remind me of what they were trying to do with Perfect Dark on the Xbox 360. I don't know, it's got that 3D anime kind of look going.
Dark Zero.
Yeah. But I guess we'll have to wait until they got something to show probably next year before we'll see it again. But maybe they're trying to ride the Switch hype because I don't think this would have even been newsworthy if the Switch version wasn't announced with it.
Well, what you're saying would have been fine in 2006, but if they're looking for Perfect Dark kind of visuals and style in 2017, we're in trouble, or 2018 when this game comes out. So.
Anyone else think that this would have made news without the Switch version being attached to the news?
Maybe, because I mean the game apparently, because it had 2 games in its series. It wasn't just I think the second one recently within the last year people were saying had either a remake announced for the second game, and I think they're just going back and remaking the first game.
Yeah,
I think the Switch version is probably going to elevate this to a higher level, primarily just because it's a forgotten PS1 franchise that no one talked about, really.
Yeah, nobody else would have talked about this game. If you would have heard, if this would have came out only for Xbox One, PS4, nobody. I mean, a few people would have talked about it, but it wouldn't have, got as much attention and had it not been on Switch too. Because this is. I'm going to do a video about it. This is the type of games I wanted to see on Switch once we found out what it was. It's, they did the presentation. I was like, oh, I kind of want these types of games, but I'll do a video on that later. So
yeah, so let's talk.
Agree that
Go Go
I
ahead.
definitely agree that I think a lot of companies are trying to ride that Switch thing. Like a lot of games, like you said, this game seems like it has a very small audience, and if it wasn't for the Switch, just that small audience would have probably talked about the game, and it wouldn't have been so fast widespread. And I think a lot of developers, the smaller ones and even big ones, are trying to do that. Like we're gonna come to the Switch because it instantly elevates the spotlight somehow.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Charlie probably shouldn't have shared that well until we moved on.
Oh, my bad.
He just
I
shared it.
was gonna bring it up for the next one, and I wanted to put the link in there in advance.
Shenmue 3 first teaser. I'm sure T wants to watch that immediately. So
I'm trying to force myself not to.
Oh well, all I was gonna say is because all I was gonna say is that the teaser really is just more like like the environments and everything look updated, but like the character models still look rough as shit.
I'm looking at the main thumbnail and it looks like trash.
That's the other thing. The environments and everything look great. It's literally all the characters' faces in the trailer that look like
Ryu looks terrible.
he does.
they have
So-
not updated those character models yet.
So let's just say Fear Effect. Well, we'll wait till we see something.
Yeah.
Till we talk about it further. But it is another game coming to the Switch, 2018. So I guess we'll talk about the Shenmue 3 thing right now. If you want.
Well, hold on. Let's get another Switch game in there that recently got announced. That was supposed to come to the Wii U, but they said no, we can't do that shit, and they said we'll do it on the next console. I think it's already out on PC or Steam or whatever. What is it called? The Jet Grind Radio.
Oh, it's talking about
Hover.
Hover. Yes, Hover. That got announced for Switch. I think at Gamescom, right?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It recently. What was it like the last few
And
days?
they have it in playable form, as a matter of fact.
really.
Yeah.
Is that one that's all cell shaded looking?
Yeah. It looks
Yeah.
like Jet Grind Radio is kind of a spiritual successor to that.
Yeah, pretty much. I haven't really heard much about that game after it came out. It kind of came out and people were just because it's
Yeah.
already out on PC, right?
Yeah, it's already out on Steam, as far as I remember hearing. I have to look it up, but
So I
yeah,
feel like that'd be another like Sega style game that'll probably get like a second life on Switch.
yeah, totally. Like I've been
Go
waiting
ahead.
for this game since they announced it, and I remember they killed it on Wii U, and I made a video about it talking about how this is the type of stuff that Switch has to get right. It was called NX then, but this is because they were having trouble with the architecture. It wasn't so much the power of the Wii U; it was just the architecture was so confusing to them.
So there's like videos from 5-6 months ago where they knew it was coming to the Switch. So is there like new footage for the Switch, or because I saw those?
Well, I don't know if
screenshots.
there's new footage, but
It's
I
playable.
haven't really seen. It's playable, so it's at Gamescom playable.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
I'm
this
looking up footage while we talk. Wow.
Yeah, I found a trailer that says Switch posted a day ago, but it's really low.
Yeah.
It looks like it was copied or downloaded, and it's really low quality.
re-uploaded and re-downloaded and
But it does look cool. I wasn't a huge fan of Jet Grind Radio. I did have it, but I just never fell in love with that. I didn't like the whole graffiti concept.
well, this doesn't have that as far as I've seen.
Because the
Yeah, there's no
graffiti
graffiti
was so like getting the moves right. The analog stick was like 50-50 it'd work.
Yeah.
And it just was annoying. But this does look cool.
Yeah, this is more about parkour and
Yeah, it's more like seems like getting from point A to point B and kind of freestyle your way.
Yeah, it's like what's the name of the Xbox One game I always talk about? That's the only game worth buying.
damn.
What's
Sunset
it called?
Overdrive.
Sunset
Yeah.
Overdrive.
Yeah, it's like it pretty much is like the parkour of that without the graffiti mechanics of Jet Set Radio.
Without the forced cursing and dialogue.
Oh yeah, you mean the try too hard humor?
Yeah, it's like that's the one thing about that game that annoys me. It's like, they force, edgy dialogue.
That's one thing I didn't like about the teaser for Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yeah.
So Retro, what do you think of this Hover? Have you seen any footage of it?
I was actually just trying to look it up because I noticed everybody kept watching trailers while talking. So I was like, maybe I should do that shit too.
It's called multitasking. That's what we do.
I don't know. I like. I'm looking at it now, and Jet Set Radio is one of my favorite Dreamcast games. I always liked it, so I never mind the graffiti aspect, even though I definitely agree that it was broken as fuck and half the time didn't work. So I'm definitely interested in this. It's definitely my kind of style of game for sure.
Yeah, and that art style, I mean,
Yeah, I
it
like
should
the
be able
art
to run on the Switch fine and look great in portable mode. And not have
I think
to,
it would have ran on Wii U fine. Like I said, I think it was the architecture issue coming from, where they were coming from with the PC build.
So when's that supposed to come to the Switch? We know.
I don't think we have a release date.
Yeah, no, have any
That's
idea.
my main problem with Switch release days. Like lately with the Switch, either something might come in the far future, or we're getting a game that's like 5 fucking years old. It's like a lot of developers don't seem to focus on the now, even like this year.
I don't know if that's developers' fault. It might be Nintendo's scheduling and whatnot.
Or do you think it's an issue of like having too many big releases next to each other on the same console?
I think so. I think they want to make sure these guys' games sell, and they don't want
I
you
was
just
gonna
throw
say
your
that.
stuff up
Yeah,
on the
you
eShop.
probably have like Mario and all that stuff, but I have a feeling Nintendo isn't gonna stop doing that. I think with the Switch this year, next year, I think next year they're just not gonna let go. So I feel you have to give, for example, some indie games more chance and give them more predefined dates ahead of time as well.
Right. I mean, that happened on the Wii U too, where all these like indie games were announced and we never saw them bitches.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying because I think part of the problem is a catch-22. If Nintendo slows down on what games they bring out, then you run into a Wii U situation again where it's like, oh, you guys are taking like 3 or 4 months just to bring out like one first-party game, and then like third party is like, oh well, the Switch isn't selling because there's no games out for it, so we're not going to put any games out for it. So I think they're just trying to be like, look, we're going to keep hitting you with games consistently at least for a year and a half, if not 2 years.
I think early, like in the year, is when they should drop some of these bigger indie titles. Like, in January, February, March.
Yeah.
That way they have some room to breathe,
Well, I'm about to say, to be fair, I mean, because technically September is going to be that way for this year. I mean, all we have are ports for the most
that's
part.
true.
Yeah,
So,
but I mean,
it's kind of a free month in that
Mario
way.
plus Rabbids it's a September game. I mean, you get it 2 days.
It's not an August game. It's a September game.
So let's stay on the same kind of topic, but just the fact that Sonic Mania just come out and then Mario plus Rabbids comes out like next Tuesday. It's like, to me, it's like that would make me that even if I was somewhat like thinking about getting Sonic Mania, I'd be like, nah, wait, because Mario plus Rabbids is coming out. So I get why there's some of these release dates are more up in the air at this point for some of these games because they got to fit them in somewhere. And I guess I could see them wanting to have them all out at once, because that would be, it's going to affect all of them, the same. They're all going to suffer because of being too many games. So, but let's talk about this Fee game because I watched the new trailer. It's of course the PS4 version.
Well, of course.
But it looks quite a bit different than I remember that first trailer because this looks like full-on 3D platformer style game. And
I thought it was a 2D game.
With flying and stuff. I'll send you the link to the new trailer. It looks pretty fucking awesome. Coming early 2018. I wonder if the Switch version will be day and date. I guess we'll have to wait to find out. But this game looks like a welcome addition to the Switch lineup. So let me get you that link.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is the type of games that they should be gauging EA interest on. This, like you said last week, Unravel. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that should be on.
And Plants vs. Zombies, a perfect game for the Switch. Like
that. Yeah, those two games with this. How do we want to call this game? Fee or Faye?
I would say Faye. I think it had an accent in one of the logos. I'm not sure.
We'll say Faye. That Plants vs. Zombies and Unraveled would seem like, especially Unraveled is just a lower $20 game anyway when it came out. So digital only. But this Faye looks pretty damn good.
Oh my god,
gorgeous to get.
Jesus Christ!
It's like Ori and the Blind Forest in 3D.
Yeah, it looks better than Shenmue 3. That's for damn. I just watched that. That was some trash.
Oh, you savage!
Wow.
Let me listen with music real quick, or with the volume on, so I can hear what the kind of music they're going for.
This is a very stylistic game, man.
What I like about it is that more companies now, like we see it with Ahead in Time, for example, as well on Ukulele, we're finally getting back into an era where we're getting like insanely high quality 3D platformers.
Right.
Remember
Oh,
when
this is the one that's
Has
the
that been
singing
announced
animal.
for Switch yet? I don't think so.
I think they said it's
Had
not
time.
coming to the Switch.
What?
Wait, what game?
I had
Hand in
time.
Yeah, I heard something along the lines of how they couldn't get Nintendo's attention or something.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the last time I heard it was something like that too. Like like he just flat out said it ain't gonna happen.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, they couldn't get Nintendo's attention with it, and I think they were interested in it, but they could just never get.
They couldn't get Nintendo's attention with that, but yet we got shit like Vroom on the shop and another trash that was just.
Hey man, I like witches, man. You don't like the witch on the broom?
That probably means is they couldn't get Nintendo to help them out, and they're just mad about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's more behind it than just that
Yeah,
Nintendo
'cause it
wasn't
doesn't sound
looking,
right at all.
but it sounded weird.
This game looks gorgeous.
But let's
does.
get back to this game. This is the one I remember now that I had the volume on. Like, this is that bird that was singing to other animals to kind of like befriend them. Like, they showed this really weird trailer 2 years ago at E3, and now that I was listening to it, I remember it now. Like the little main character sings and stuff, and that's how it was befriending the other animals. So that's kind of a unique mechanic beyond just the game looking amazing.
Wow, that looks great.
Jesus.
What was that RPG? Oh, that was
What
Ubisoft. That came out on Wii U.
Oh, you're talking about
Side scrolling.
Child of Light?
Child of Light.
Mm-hmm.
That was in the UB art game.
Yeah, UBR. Yeah.
But
It was a pretty decent game. But yeah, this Terrell, this Faye game, what do you think?
Oh, see, I think this is the first time I've even paid attention to it because even though I guess this game was mentioned before, I guess I didn't notice it. The game looks great. Artistically, it looks like a very interesting game. I didn't get to listen to the music yet. I'll probably do that after the podcast is over. But yeah, it looks pretty interesting. But I think this is like a 2018 release for a Switch, probably. If I had to take a guess.
It said early 2018 in the trailer.
Oh yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, it said early 2018. Yeah.
So next year, okay.
So
looks awesome.
Good move, EA. It's funny that the thing that reported it was Nintendo Switch at Nintendo Switch C. It's not even officially Nintendo's Twitter account, so I guess maybe there's a chance this isn't true, but
nah, I don't believe that.
Well, Nintendo Everything posted it. I would hope.
Yeah, that's where I read it
get
from.
the sources together before.
You'd hope.
Oh no, yeah, it's a press release from what I'm looking at.
Oh, okay, yeah, so it's pretty official then.
Yeah, it's a press release.
Yeah, EA media briefing at Gamescom. So yeah,
it's EA, because EA had their little conference today.
Did they?
Yeah. So I think it's a press release from EA, or at least from what I'm reading.
That's cool.
How's this Zoink done? It sounds familiar. I gotta look them up.
I'm saying it probably is. Oh, I wanted to mention some real quick side thing. It's not necessarily Switch related, but it is a game that I think all of us were at least thought were cool. And it's one thing cool about it got mentioned yesterday. Cuphead, because we already got the release date and everything for it. But the cool thing is you can also you can also play it on PC.
Oh, nice.
I was like, that's all I needed to hear. And I don't mean like Windows, I mean like Steam.
Steam.
I think Microsoft, they realized.
Oh, that's who they are.
Like that.
Zoink. Now they did the core gang on Wii, one of my favorite freaking platformers. So this is a plus. I think Sean Long, RGT85 did a interview with those guys a few weeks back.
Wait a minute, they're also working on Flipping Death. Duh.
Flipping Death. That's another one. Yeah.
That's why I remember them. Okay.
Yeah, I remember from the core gang, one of my favorite platformers ever.
But yeah. So if you wanted to play Cuphead,
stick it to the man. Duh.
Yeah. It's all within that similar style. But yeah, if you want to play Cuphead, you don't have to buy an Xbox One. I just wanted that to be stated.
And sorry to the people in the chat, I had it minimized while I was checking out videos and stuff. So a lot of people were already telling us this stuff.
Oh.
and somebody thinks we don't only dislike Shenmue 3 because it's not on Switch.
No.
They must not know T's.
Yeah, there's not
a
bigger. There's maybe a few bigger Shenmue fans than me. I don't care about that. I was happy that the game got announced. I'm a huge Shenmue fan.
And you have a PlayStation, so
and I have a PlayStation. I have a PlayStation. I have Xbox One. I can get it wherever, you know. So
It's
not
such a
about
dumb
that.
thing to say anyway. It's not like we love the other Shenmues because they were not on the GameCube.
It's on a Sega Dreamcast. That's why I love it. No, I love the game because it was awesome. So
I loved it till I was
stop that.
doing a job in the game, driving a forklift for like hours.
Yeah, that was a weird kind of.
I got pretty bored. All right, so let's talk about something else. I'm gonna spring this one on you guys. So I watched a review for Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, and I just want to give my take and get your guys' thoughts. So one of the biggest Sony fanboys at IGN, Marty Silva, big Uncharted fanboy, reviews the game. He gives it a 7.5 and said the open world part is just, there's nothing to do. There's no treasures to look. It's like just boring, vacant, open world setting, and really not. And then everything else was just a retread of what you know from Uncharted 4. And I was shocked because I thought for sure that game was getting 9.5 or 9 at least.
Wow. How many death threats is he getting?
probably more than one. And it's like, and that's just one person's take, but
yeah, I'm shocked because
Sony fan.
I watched Digital Foundry and they were completely opposite. They loved it. So
yeah, he didn't really review it, but they're so impressed with the technical side. I think they were.
That's true.
It didn't look like there's much to do except kind of just take out little enemy encampments and you know, the weakest part of that game, in my opinion, is the shooting mechanics and stuff. But so without having played it myself or seeing really any other reviews, I don't know what the Metacritic is on it, but it started out as DLC and then they decided to make it like a standalone $40 game. Still digital only, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it?
No, it has a physical.
That would suck.
Yeah.
Well, is it still 40 though? Was I right on the price?
Yeah, it's still 40.
Okay. So to me, it's like I see that, and I'm like, finally, these people, like, someone sees Uncharted for what I see it as. It's just this. There's just really nothing to it. It's just it takes you, basically handholds you the whole time, and then you got to shoot here, and then you got to climb. There's no thought involved, and then you sit there and watch cinematic. So I guess from my perspective, I was hearing like how I felt about Uncharted 2 and 4. Someone say that about this one, even though the Metacritic is at 86. So
yeah, I was about to say the Metacritic is 86.
I probably should have looked.
That's fine.
But to me, it just feels like I'm shocked that this formula is still popular. Like this game formula still works for people. But that's just me, one person's opinion. Anybody here interested in the game and getting it or?
No.
Any thoughts?
Well, it's not on Switch, so
yeah. That's why I hate it. I have Uncharted 4.
Well, I'm going to defend this because I am a huge Uncharted fan. And Uncharted is a series that's not on Switch that I love. Just throwing that out there. Amy Pascal is gone, and a lot of that team is not there. So I wasn't expecting this to be some big AAA thing, and especially since it came from a basically DLC add-on stuff. I wasn't expecting that much out of it. I don't see. That's why I'm not feeling you trying to. You're trying to form your perspective on Uncharted based on this. And you feel justified. You feel vindicated because somebody didn't like this DLC.
It just feels like his complaints about this one is how I felt about, Uncharted 2 and 4.
I get it. I see where you're coming from. But no, I'm shooting you down. That's not fair. No, I haven't played it, so I don't know. But, it might be exactly it. This may be, like you said, this is how you feel about them all. And finally somebody else understands where you're coming from. I'm sure there's some other people out there that don't care for Uncharted. But, I wasn't expecting much out of this. And, 7.5, is that what it is? I think that's bad.
No, but that for IGN in a Naughty Dog game, that's
but,
2 times lower.
but again, like I said, it's not really a Naughty Dog game.
That's true. It's not a full-fledged.
Yeah, it's DLC. It's basically DLC that they maybe added more stuff to get it up to a $40 thing. But you know, to me, it's what's that one on Vita, Golden Abyss or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah.
It's to me that's what it is. It's like it's a side thing. That one didn't get great reviews either, if I remember correctly. So I'm not shocked or anything. I'm still gonna end up getting it. So
I'll give my opinions on it still then, because I haven't played Uncharted yet. I started buying them because I only have like a PS3 since like half a year or something. I only have 2 and 3, so I can't start playing it yet because I don't have the first game yet. So but I know I want to play it because it seems.
Yeah, you definitely want to play the first game first.
My experience with the game is just going to sound so stupid. My actual experience with the game is watching Doc Trey play it.
Oh no!
I see it is pretty linear, but it still seems interesting to me. But I definitely can understand why it's so linear. But I think most people, when they think of the new thing now, is they have in their mind what I have in my mind. Like, I want to play this franchise. It seems interesting. But from the newest game, all I remember is that fucking 30-minute walking simulator that they did. So I can understand why some people already have this negative impression on it, just because that is how they revealed the game. And it was so annoying that.
See, here's the thing about Uncharted, I think. If you weren't there in 2007 when it came out, and it was way more impactful then. So if it didn't hook you then and you're coming in later, there's so much other stuff that's come out since then that if you put it next to Uncharted or you put Uncharted next to it, it doesn't seem as wow factor. But for me, I was in early on because I had a PS3 day one and I ain't had shit to play for it. I had nothing to play. And this was like the first kind of big Sony game that came out for it. And it was like, wow, this is what the PlayStation 3 is about. And not really, because nothing really, for me anyway, got up to that point, high mark again. But for some other people, like, Last of Us and whatnot. But anyway, like, that's the thing. I think because the gameplay is not that compelling. It's just like, it's a cover shooter. A lot of it is spongy as hell. You bullet sponges all over the place. But the thing that's so good about it was the motion capture. The characters were so well defined, and you just cared about them. It was an emotional factor. They used that. What was it called? I never can remember what the chip that's in the PlayStation 3 is called. I always want to say Emotion Engine, but that's PS2.
So.
The cell processor. The cell processor was used to perfection back then, especially when it came out, because you hadn't seen visuals that good, and you hadn't seen like expressiveness from characters that good until Uncharted. So I feel like if you didn't get in then, it's not going to be as impactful. Like, especially for you retro death, you probably won't think it was, what's the big deal about Uncharted? So it probably won't hit you the same way. But for me, I guess it hit me at the right time, and I became a fan early on. So
I definitely have to agree. And this is the first time I'm super strict when it comes to this with my games. Yeah. Uncharted 4 is the first game ever when 100% satisfied with the facial expressions, where it looks realistic, where it's well done. Because I hate it when you still today get current gen games that still are being worked on now, and you just see these blank stares that are scary as fuck. Because something a lot of developers don't see is when eyebrows do not move, it doesn't look good. Yeah. And Uncharted 4 has seriously perfect facial animations that even some CGI movies still don't do.
Yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn has a long way to go.
Oh, that's terrible.
I was playing that yesterday for a short amount of time, and like there's this little side quest where there's like some kind of beacon sending off a noise that's attracting the flying, I forget what they're called, the flying robotic birds. And he's like, I don't know how to turn it off, and obviously the mouse syncs completely off. It just so uncanny valley, and then it cuts to her, and you just see her arm like just jabbing like in this weird like glitchy way, and then that's supposed to be her stabbing it with her her staff, which they didn't show, and then it like cut back to the original camera angle. It was so jarring. It just looks, and then she's like twitching and her hair's flying through her shoulders. It just looks terrible. And it's hard for me. I don't care about the story. I skip most of that dialogue, but it takes you right out of the experience that they're trying to put you in when it looks that bad. And definitely Uncharted 4 never did that for me. Like, it was the cutscenes, whether or not they're, some of them, you know, some of the moments were kind of ridiculous, but overall, I never was pulled out of the game and be like, oh, this looks so fake. Like, it looks terrible. So they definitely got that down pat ever since The Last of Us, I think. I think they really stepped it up. But, yeah, and just to kind of, I thought it was interesting that that a huge Uncharted fan at IGN gave it that score, but it does seem like most people are giving it pretty high. And, of course, Trusted Reviews gave it 100 out of 100, so the very trusted site gave it a little $40 game, which I guess if you just loved that style. But anyway, that was something I just saw and thought we could talk about. But let's get on to this Monolith Soft listing for, they're hiring different positions, like quite a few. Was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Like 11 different positions they're hiring for, and they have concept art for their new game. So I did send you guys a link. I don't know if you have it up. I'll send it again just in case. I want to get your guys' thoughts on what's your thought on Monolith hiring this many more people, considering what they already can do, and then we'll talk about what we think this type of game this is going to be based on the concept art. So, T, you were just talking about Monolith Soft. Well, you talked about Xenoblade in your game, or your Wii is a core gamer system video. So I'll have you go first with Monolith Soft's track record. And I mean, these are some of these are pretty big positions: product manager and character model, like concept art designers, like. Seems like stuff they'd already have good people at that position. So what do you think of them hiring this many people for this project? And what do you expect?
My guess is that this is going to be somewhat different from what you expect from Monolith Soft. That's why they're hiring these different people, because I have a feeling it's going to be like an action RPG, and it's, somewhat based on the concept art, but they're not really, at least this Monolith Soft, their track record is awesome. I mean, they obviously have Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Xenoblade Chronicles X, and they go back to Square, they go back to being a core team at Square. So they have a great track record, but I think I feel like they're looking for a game with more appeal. I think they actually said that in the thing, right? Where they wanted more global something, I remember being part of that article. That's something they were looking for.
And it says ambitious project different from the brand image of Monolith Soft. So
right,
they're obviously known for like a sword in the grass and huge landscapes and anime style.
I think they're going for more of a maybe even Zelda-like type of game. More of a broader appeal game. RPGs have a niche kind of audience, so that's why I think they're hiring these different.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I didn't think about hiring people that are not familiar with what they always do, so that could bring fresh ideas to, trying to make something different. If you have the same people that have done the last 3 Xenoblade games, it's probably gonna be harder for them to get out of that than if you bring in somebody from the outside.
Character control programmer. See, that to me that says, it's going to be a little bit more movement, based as far as your character goes. So how the Monolith Soft games, they're kind of automatic attacks and whatnot. And this, I feel like this is a game that's not going to have that. So,
no, it's going to be more real time, like Zelda and stuff. So, Terrell, what's your thoughts on just the fact that they're hiring this many people, and could there be still, like, now with this, if they get all these people, could there be working on 2 games at the same time, or you think this can be all hands on deck type of game?
I mean, there's not too much to. I think T kind of covered all the main points as far as of why they're hiring new people. But I kind of want to get in just based off the concept art and image, because I fully agree that they're going towards more of a Legend of Zelda. That's like the closest game I can actually think of. That and maybe, because I mean, you're obviously dealing with a medieval setting based off of this image, based off of just the character's attire, which I think that's a girl. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a pretty awesome.
Definitely a girl. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, but I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, there's one defining.
Yeah, there's one defining feature.
Oh wait, never mind. Okay, never mind. I see it. But I think they're going for maybe. I almost want to say closer to like, because the first thing I thought when I saw this game, and this isn't me going into this, because for those, it reminded me a lot of Scalebound just from its initial look, because Scalebound had that same kind of medieval feel to it, with just more of an anime injection on Scalebound's part. I feel like they're going towards more of like the Western side of it.
Yeah,
where it's more of a, and I honestly think they might be going for more like towards what Platinum Games was doing, where it has RPG elements, where you hit the enemy and you get like damage counters and whatnot, but you're the one actively hitting the button to attack the enemy. Because I feel like Xenoblade Chronicles X was kind of going into that position too, where you had a lot more like free-form movement. You could jump up the side of fucking like mountains and shit.
Yeah. And
there was no real reason you needed to do that in like a normal RPG. But I feel like X was them experimenting with that kind of idea. And I think Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is literally just more traditional Xenoblade. I think they're trying to hit that itch that people like, where you can like run around. Also, because I think a medieval setting provides a lot more interesting setup for characters and sub missions and side quests. The fact that they have things like I'm just looking here, just
the dragon. I mean that
see, I don't know how heavy the dragon's gonna play, because that shit's done to death in Western games in general. Yeah. So I'm curious if that's gonna be like a simple, that's an enemy we have to beat, or if that's gonna be like we're befriending the dragon, whatnot.
It's like it has the same kind of color, well, not color scheme, but it has like her clothing is
very Superman
color red,
yeah, there's elements of the color scheme within the dragon in her outfit. Yeah. And I'm thinking, and I don't want to say it because I was avoiding it, but it was the first thing I thought. It reminds me as if like this is like the second coming of Scalebound in my mind.
I was thinking that, yeah.
The way it looks, it just really hits me with that Scalebound vibe, which is funny because I don't really give a fuck about Scalebound personally. I personally didn't like
trash to me, but
I wasn't really a fan of the way the gameplay was turning out for that anyway. But
apparently neither was Microsoft.
So, Retro, have you played the Xenoblade games? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I played Xenoblade Chronicles X, and one of my all-time favorite game is from Monolith Soft as well. That's the original Button Kaitos game. They made that as well.
Yeah.
So what do you think about potentially playing a Monolith Soft game that doesn't have that battle system, that mix of arts and auto attacks and stuff?
That's the main thing I actually hate about Xenoblade, and one of the rare reasons I almost didn't play it. I really do not like that auto attack system. That is not for me. I don't like controlling a character and then still having to like click a random button and waiting to attack. Like, it is not the same as, for example, something like the Tales of games, where it is also an RPG, but you really decide the attack with your buttons instead of pre-selecting. It's just a very weird system. I don't like it.
Have you seen how 2 works?
They make you so actively dynamic with your movements, but they give you like nothing with attacks, and I really do not like that gameplay style. What I'm thinking when I look at this, what they want, what they're asking, it's funny that people said Scalebound. I was expecting something different from T. What this makes me think of is Square's Dragon Guard series that they used to do, where you have a full-time battle, where you have like a giant battlefield where you can go to many places, and you have a dragon there. You control the dragon. You can fly the dragon open on the battlefield. I feel the dragon is going to become more important. I think that's kind of the way they're going to go with this. And personally, I love that. I'm so happy that they're getting rid of that weird auto attack system. And I honestly think some people are like, oh, it's not going to be this type of RPG. It's going to be that type of RPG. I think it's not going to be RPG at all. I think it's going to be this action adventure type thing. And one of my favorite things that I like is that they have new concept artists that they want, character designs. I also think they're going to get rid of this tutti frutti anime style they're kind of getting stuck on.
Yeah, because this definitely doesn't lend to that, this concept art. So anyone here get maybe they're going to do a Dark Souls type of game? Like, that was my first thought when I saw this, and I'm hoping not, because I hate
the
that
night and
really don't like that.
Yeah, maybe based on the aesthetic. That's about it, though. That's the only thing I get out of it.
I mean, that's the only thing you can.
Well, the aesthetic, but I mean, my biggest fear is that they do a Souls clone type of game with this, because then I'm out right there.
Monolith Soft? You don't know Monolith Soft. They don't clone anybody.
That's true.
They gotta do their
but
own
this
thing.
bottom, the image of the knight and kind of the ruin, like cathedral setting, that's what made me think of it more than anything.
I mean, but that could be like a dungeon. I guess that's what. I've never really played Dark Souls, so I don't really know.
I think I played the Dark Souls, but I think the Dark Souls games are way too slow, probably, for what they're looking for. Dark Souls games are really... People like to say that they're hard. They're not really hard. They're extremely grindy. They're very slow and grindy. If you take your time, they're not that hard at all. And I think they're also very confined. Dark Souls games are really confined, like claustrophobically confining. And I like the games, but they're really slow. I also don't like this term anyway, but people say this Dark Souls-y games because many games did that before. It's just, I think they want something big.
Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't really fit their description of global.
Yeah. Plus, we pointed out, or I forgot to point out, that they helped probably more than we even think with Breath of the Wild.
They help a lot with Breath of the Wild.
Maybe they got a little taste of what
they got
that
a little
was.
itch, I think.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah, that's a very good.
Yeah.
But I love this image. Like, it's almost Superman colors. The girl with the sword. She's got like that metallic blue, lighter blue that sometimes Superman's in, and the reds, and just the movement of her cape with her either unsheathing or resheathing the sword. It just, there's like motion in this picture. It looks fucking fantastic, and I just hope that they can not stray too far from it and almost capture.
Looks like she's unsheathing it because she's using her right hand, and I'm guessing
I'm thinking that
she's
too.
right-handed, so it looks like she's pulling it out.
It's just
it has
like
a little light glow, and in movies and shit, then that's when you get the light glow when they take it out.
Yeah.
It's like, please end up something like this, because then, like, even the details, it's almost like she's got leather boots almost going like up the thigh, like, and it has that cool little
Look, she looks awesome.
like scales and stuff. Like, it's and then you look at the night one, and it reminds me of like The Last of Us in a medieval setting. The Last of Us concept art, and I'm a little less excited by that, but I'm really excited to see what they do. And I like that, you know, they can already, like, they started Xenoblade Chronicles 2 before X was done. Or
Yeah, I mean, this is Monolith Soft cranks out stuff that you would think would take a lot longer. Even on Wii U. Well, I mean, obviously the Wii U one took a little longer, but they were already ready to go. Once they finished that one, they were already deep into Xenoblade Chronicles, I would guess, too. So they seem like they have a good bead on like their scheduling and how they put their games out.
So let's give our I'm gonna give like my best case scenario, like based on this the top image, and something, you know, open world. Obviously, hope, you know, they learned something from Zelda there. An interesting open world setting. I love the medieval era, and I hope that, you know, they can find interesting things for you to do in the game. But my biggest hope, and it might be too much to ask for because what they're going from, and just if they're just hiring one person for character movement, but I want like Lara Croft level of animations and agility. Like, I don't want to be like stiff character movements. You know, I want to feel like that character is really, you can really control the character, and there's a ton of animations and stuff that make it feel, you know, fluid, and then also have like more like Zelda combat or something in it mixed in. Hopefully don't end up with something like, you know, like Assassin's Creed or some of those other third person where they really don't get the combat right. So like if I can get that and then have an interesting story, I see a dragon in the sky. If dragons are in this world, then that's a good thing. As a huge fan of Game of Thrones, I don't want to spoil nothing, but dragon comes to mind. I instantly thought of Game of Thrones last night. So
I'm gonna say, see, you went to Dark Souls with that image with the knight, but you can drop Link right into his spot, and it would look like some concept art for Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, like with that one temple that's
You're right, with the old part of Skyward Sword.
Yeah, it looks just like that to me. So
what kind of art style do you guys, based on this concept art, would you want? Like a Zelda, super detailed but cel shaded type art style, or go for realistic?
Zelda. That's my personal.
I mean, their own take on it, but
yeah, I think it's going to be something in between what Breath of the Wild is and something like a lot more realistic looking. I think it's going to be like a fine line in between those two.
Yeah.
Anybody else have like their dream game based on this concept art? What you hope it's going to be?
Well, if we're talking like at least in terms of movement and mechanics, I would say somewhere between. I like the movement they were leaning towards in Xenoblade Chronicle X, but probably a lot more fluid, leaning more into. I really like the way Bayonetta controls the Bayonetta 2. Mm-hmm. I think, except probably not as what's the word I'm looking for? Floaty.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I don't need as much aerial movement, but I like the way she runs and kind of can get around the places really quickly.
And it's way more like, I'll just interrupt you. Fire Emblem Warriors, Hyrule Warriors, like the characters move fast, but the way they turn, it's so unnatural and jarring. Yeah. Whereas Bayonetta got that absolutely right. And it's a similar speed, I would think, to the movement. And in Xenoblade Chronicles X was very running in a straight line oriented type of. You could turn, but the characters were just kind of. There's not a lot of animation going on with those. Yeah,
it needed to be expanded upon. I feel like that was an idea they played with, and they were like, well, you probably don't need as much animation considering all you're going to be doing is wandering around a particular monster and just hitting buttons on the damn controller. But if you're going for a more action-oriented game, I think Bayonetta's ground movement's about what you would need. Aerial movement needs to be a little bit more realistic because that all kind of depends on how realistic they want to go with this game. If they want to keep it somewhat, in terms of the movement. I mean, having a knight run around and jumping 40 feet in the air seems a little fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
so maybe. Yeah. So in terms of jump speed height, I probably would say something similar to like Lara Croft or Nathan Drake.
Hopefully more than Nathan Drake though, because his jump is pathetic. Unless it knows you need to jump a gap, his jump is one of the, in my opinion, like one of the lamest animations in the whole Uncharted 4 or Uncharted 2 and 4 actually.
Well, goddamn!
You don't get to talk about Uncharted anymore. You're cut off.
This little when it's not like, oh, you're at a ledge and we know you need to jump really far. Jump. It's kind of a sad jump. But
I think the game is going to be a lot more flat than that, though. I doubt it's going to be like the type of platforming, for example. I really think it's going to be, to explain it more easy for people who never played Dragon God, I think it's going to be more this Warriors type game, just better and more elaborate, bigger. Like their vision of a Warriors game, I think this is going to be.
I was thinking it was going to end up more like Witcher.
Yeah, that's another way they could take it, too.
Yeah.
So either way, I mean, it's exciting, and I mean, we probably won't see anything on it till sometime next year, but
even
that,
we'll get a Adobe After Effects logo.
I would think E3 2018, maybe they'll have a teaser for us.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if they're still looking for designers and shit.
I knew you were going to say that.
It's a big bet already.
And what I was going to say was that they pretty much have their concept and everything down. They're not scrambling to get people to help them further their concept. I think they're good to go on that, and they just need the work put in at this point. And so, I mean, it's possible. they would have something, you know, maybe just like an environment or something. I'm sure they got environments already, probably by now. So you won't see like, you know, characters running around doing stuff, but maybe you'll get some cool environment stuff and then some explanation of what it's going to be.
Yeah. All right, so I guess done talking about that. Unless somebody has anything else to say, I was gonna go on to Terrell and let's talk about some Sonic Mania because I'm sure you got
talking
some
about
opinions.
Shenmue, or did we do that?
Oh, we didn't really talk about Shenmue. I mean,
Do we need to talk about Shenmue? It's a better question.
see just based on that trailer, what? Because you already kind of said.
Well, I'm biased because it's not on Switch. So
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
anything I say, it doesn't matter. No, yeah, the trailer looks like trash. I don't care who you are. This trailer is not up to the standards of Shenmue, or what Shenmue should have evolved into. And I get it. I understand that Shenmue is an expensive type of game to make. And if you can't make it, then don't. You can't make it up to the standards it needs to be in 2017. I mean, with Yakuza's out there and what's that other game? I can't think of the name of it. That's set in China with the cop who's on the cover. It needs to be along that line, you know, those lines. And at least finally we have some footage that's not basically re-rendered Shenmue 1 stuff, because that's what we got in the beginning. People were like, oh my God, no, that was Shenmue 1. Slow down. And this is where we're at. What has it been? A year and a half? 2 years?
When did we see that? Was that E3 2016?
Oh, you're talking about Sleeping Dogs was the other game you were
Sleeping Dogs, right. E3, was it E3 2016?
I think so.
Okay, so a little bit over a year. And $5 million later. If this is where we're at now, we got a long way to go, man.
We just had to talk about what I thought about Uncharted's facial animations. I look at this shit, and this main character, he's like static as fuck.
How does Ryu from 2000 look better than this dude?
Yeah,
2017. Like, he was more, you know, he looked more like he wasn't, you know, obviously it was less realistic, but he at least had some character to his look. This just looks like somebody's fan art of the guy. It's just not cool.
I've seen better fan art though.
Damn.
Yeah, it looks like they got a long ways to go. But shout outs to RGT85. Is Shenmue 3 the next Kickstarter disaster?
He's already on it, huh?
Mm-hmm. And he's a fan.
Yeah, he's a big fan too.
So
you can't just put that on me for this game not being on Switch. That's ridiculous. But
we'll have to, if this is what they got to show, I mean, at least I guess it's progressed. So it's not just took the money and nothing's happened, but.
Well, I said this from the beginning, like, Sony should have just funded the damn game. Like, to bring Yu Suzuki out there like a begging prostitute. Like, this is like a legendary game designer. And this is what you do? You drag him out on stage and ask him to beg for money? Like, when you have the money to pay for this freaking game? Like,
well, I think they ended up doing that later.
I think they ended up after it got money from Kickstarter. I think they
but they waited to see, you know, the fan reaction to it.
Yeah, that's true.
They gauged what people's interest is, and I mean, they're still taking that $5 million. Am I wrong about that? They're still using that.
Yeah, they are,
or whatever it was. Maybe it was $4 million, but
it was too damn much.
How the hell did that get so much money? Like.
The same reason why Mighty Number 9.
No one bought that freaking game. No one bought Shenmue 1 and 2 though. It's like
because there's a lot of bullshit gamers out there. I don't know if you realize this or not. It's like they hop on shit after the fact. Oh yeah, I love that game. Never owned it in their life. Like, there's a lot of those dudes, especially on this website.
Yeah, because I openly will admit I've never played Shenmue.
That's what I like, because at least Juice is honest. Like, he remembers the gameplay.
Yeah.
He remembers the gameplay, but you gotta be honest, Shenmue is technically boring as fuck. It's a life simulator kind of game.
It's not, you know? Like, that's the thing. Like, that's why I was talking about Sleeping Dogs and Yakuza. It's gonna have to evolve. You can't just put out that game, because that was pretty groundbreaking for, you know, 1999, 2000. But we've had 1,000 Grand Theft Auto games. You know, we've had a bunch of games in that open world kind of thing that have done a lot of stuff. So you can't just, especially with this artwork, you're gonna have to do better than that, son. Like,
I mean, this trailer, it looks like a lot of almost every scene where you see landscape, there's a very bright light in your face to hide the graphics, and every time you see the main character, it's like somebody is wearing a mask of the main character.
Yeah.
It's just it doesn't.
You know what it
good.
reminds me of? Remember what was that game that came out, or that was supposed to come out? The Shadow of the Eternals. Remember all the footage we used to get?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's reminding me of, and that's not a good look, son. That's not a good look. So, yeah, I want more from this game. I'm not. Some people are just happy, and I doubt you're a fan if you think this is good to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think you're one of those guys that pretended, oh yeah, I used to love Shenmue and never even bought a Dreamcast and shit.
This is going to be removed from people after this trailer. It's going to be removed from PlayStation 4 exclusive lists from you know, trying to hype up exclusive.
Well, it's already supposed to be on PC too, right?
I'm not sure.
I thought it was a PlayStation 4 PC
I think
thing.
so. I think so.
Yeah, I think they just used PlayStation to. That's the worst for the Kickstarter. It's not even actually from PlayStation.
Someone in the comment section is saying it's Deep Silver who funded it.
Yeah. So
no, I think the Kickstarter, and then there was another company who like added a bit of cash on top of what they had.
So I think that might have been Deep Silver, which is the same company that did the.
Yeah, so they're Frankenstein in a fund, so you know that's always going to work out good.
Yeah, because watch some shit go a certain way, and then people are like, "Well, I'm pulling my money out."
I'm not feeling. They got to do better than this.
But as I said, like I never played Shenmue, so I don't have as much of a attachment to that.
I mean,
game
the original game cost like $40 million. Now, a lot of that had to do with the fact that it had to get transferred over from Saturn to Dreamcast because it started off on Saturn.
Oh.
And I'm sure a lot of the development costs went into that and the marketing and whatnot. But you need at least 20 mil for this type of game, I would think, to be a good game. And they're nowhere near that, at least the funding we know about. So I don't know.
And someone compared this game to the fake Last Guardian excitement.
Oh, so yeah, remember that?
Out of curiosity, I looked on VG charts, and I'm even more curious now if this was like in a bundle in Europe, because the Europe sales are twice as high, almost twice as high as North America.
Of Last Guardian?
Yeah, almost 600,000 just in Europe. Japan 120,000, North America 320,000.
That's got to be a bundle.
And that game was canceled like thrice.
Yeah, it's like Europe will it's crazy that the support they throw at Sony, but
what are you guys doing over there, Retro?
Man, it's not me. I got my Nintendo shit here.
I'm very shocked that Last Guardian hit over 1 million actually, according to VG charts. So,
but I have PlayStation. That's not the problem. But my issue with Last Guardian, for example, specifically, is I cannot stand how the levels and the character is like a completely different art style. It's like they put Toon Link in Twilight Princess. It just doesn't fit.
I couldn't get over the animations overriding the controls. Like you just try to move a little bit, and he's got to like get his whole body moving and flapping his arms, and it looked just trying to line up to press a switch. You could see every gameplay video I watched because I was considering buying it. And people had so much trouble just fucking going up to a switch to pull it. Like, I just see them. I was like, I'm not going to play a whole game where that's
like Lara Croft original Tomb Raider stuff, yo.
Yeah, it's like, we should be beyond that crap, you know. But it's not like they were that guy is known. Even with Shadow of the Colossus, the controls weren't exactly crisp. But anyway, anything else on Shenmue?
I can't even believe we went into it this hard.
I know.
Well, I love my Shenmue, man, but this ain't good right here.
It looks, that character model looks, it looks bad. So
it's pre-2004 and shit.
Of course, Dr. Feelgood said it's not hard to pull switches in the game. Well, it's every gameplay video I watched. Everybody struggled at that part. trying to line up to press the switch. Maybe
the controller is more wonky than it needs to be from what.
Yeah, because every time you just press any little movement, like his whole body starts moving. Like it's so physics based that it couldn't just rein that back and have tight controls. But anyway, let's talk about a game that I don't really have much to say on because I'm not a Sonic fan, but I figured Terrell and T, I know for sure you two guys have it.
Yeah.
Seems to be a lot of people are really liking the game, and even like Dashy, like he bought it for the Switch. He was playing it on the Switch. I just noticed by the menu, pressing A or whatever. So it seems like a lot of people I've seen. Obviously, I follow Nintendo people, but it seems like a lot of people are playing it on the Switch, which not surprising based on the YouTube videos or views for the trailers on Nintendo's website, Sony's website, but. So take on Sonic Mania, and then how much more do you think the Switch version will sell versus the other versions?
Okay, this shit is fucking beautiful. I don't have the proper words to express how fucking like addictive this game is. And it's weird because, like, to be honest with you, I mean, the way I got into Sonic, I did play some of the Genesis games, but my original history with Sonic was more with the 3D games. Like, I played Sonic 1 and 2, but like I immediately went into adventures after that. I had to retroactively go back and play the classic games. To me, it does exactly what it needs to do. I actually would argue it does it better than what Generations did back on the PS3 and 360. It takes everything from the original classic games, even games like Sonic the Fighters, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Makes reference to it. Sonic CD. To me, it's a game made by Sonic fans for Sonic fans. Now, I do have some slight issues with it, but I can only really think of like two. One, I think the collision detection is kind of fucking stupid sometimes because I've gotten crushed in this game way more than any other Sonic game I've played. And the only other issue is that I think the bosses aren't really. I love all the bosses, but I think they're not really done in a way that feels like a curve upward. It feels like you can go like 2 or 3 bosses, be perfectly fine, and then like the next boss is like this weird spike for 2 bosses, and then it drops down. I think the boss difficulty is inconsistent. But those are like literally the only 2 complaints I have. Fucking, there's so much shit to do in the game. I haven't even beaten the game because I started 3 fucking playthroughs of Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles because I'm a fucking nerd. I fucking you know the one thing, the only other thing I hate about this game is that I bet you it's gonna make Sonic Forces look like shit. I feel like it already has done that, and Sonic Forces isn't even out yet. Sonic Forces is automatically trash because it can never reach this level of fanboyism. You can't. It's all right. And then I guess to answer the other question, the how much more you think it'll sell on the Switch? I've seen a good bit of people buy it on PlayStation 4. I didn't see nobody buy it on Xbox One, but I know that might just be because they
don't play games over there.
They don't play. Hey man, this is an old school platforming game. What the fuck?
It's
are you doing?
16-bit, man. Where's the 4K?
Yeah, where's the 4K? Where's my
Minecraft? That's where it's at. Minecraft.
Yeah, exactly. Where's my better edition trailer? Shit. So I think it'll probably. I mean, PS4 and Switch are going to eclipse the Xbox version. The PC version, it comes out, I think, next week. So I would say the Switch are probably. I'm not going to say 2 to 1. I'll probably say like a good 20-30% more, maybe.
20%. All right.
Yeah.
T. What do you got to say about?
Well, let me give you a perspective that's not from a total, complete Sonic fanboy. Let me be more honest with you here.
In a dick, T.
He's all crazy about this game, and he's absolutely right. This game is fucking amazing. I love this fucking game. For me, the epitome of 2D Sonic, and I'm not saying this is the best Sonic game, but for me, the epitome is Sonic 2. And I literally was sitting there remembering the first time I played Sonic 2. like the whole situation, like my mom in the kitchen cooking, and I had, I had just got the bundle. It was the smaller, what was it, the Genesis 2 Model 2.
Yeah,
there was a smaller one that came with Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and I remember the smell of opening up that box, and I immediately felt that playing this flipping game. And it's cool because it's like, oh, I remember this, but it flips it on you. It's like you're going through and you're like, oh yeah, I know how to do that, and then bam, no you don't. This is some different stuff here, bro. And the controls are perfect. It's exactly what Sonic the Hedgehog 4 should have been, which was a travesty.
Yeah.
It's what we should have got on. I feel like it should have been the Sonic game we got for Sega Saturn that we never got. Because it's not just 16-bit. It incorporates stuff from Sonic CD, and I think stuff that even Sonic CD couldn't do, like some of the 3D bonus stage stuff.
Well, it has Sonic
looks more like Saturn to me. It looks more like Saturn
Sonic
graphics.
references, man.
Right. And it's just like it's and like you said, it pulls from so many different Sonic games. This game deserves all the accolades it's getting, and Terrell is right. It's like it's only downhill. It's only downhill from here. Hopefully, Sonic Forces can do something. But yeah,
it's not gonna be better than this. I already know.
It's not gonna be better. I don't think it can be better.
I feel like this isn't even fair to this game. I really do. I feel like they cheated themselves out of forcing them to get it wrong.
So start thinking, like, should they bring this? They should have brought this out after.
Yeah,
probably not,
or way sooner. I mean,
yeah, or way sooner. Nice. That would probably be the way to go.
And I got to eat some crow because watching Digital Foundry's analysis, they have the best capture equipment or something, because that game
they do. They have to.
The other footage I was watching, it literally looked like a Genesis game, in widescreen. But I gotta say, it looked, their little analysis thing, that game looked way better than I was giving it credit for last week.
It's between 16 and 32-bit. It's in there somewhere.
It's a very clean looking retro game. It's not like it doesn't have the negative parts of being retro,
unless you want them. Because you can't put filters in.
Yeah, but see the filter, and it's not even like that annoying type of filter where you can tell they didn't know how the filter originally looked. It's like subtle things that it hits that right nostalgia button that could take you way back to where you're playing on a CRTV and you're just like, shit. Like,
so how are you guys playing it with the Pro Controller, the Joy-Cons? Are you using
I've been playing this in handheld mode.
I've been playing it mostly in handheld, surprisingly.
Yeah. What do you use, the analog or the split D-pad?
I'll alternate between both, but I've been mainly using the analog.
Yeah, I use mostly the split D-pad, and it feels fine. You would think, it feels pretty good.
Oh yeah,
have you tried the Pro Controller with the D-pad and stuff?
I tried it.
I've done it.
I've tried it. Yeah, I've tried it. It works fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I did want to geek out about one quick thing: the drop dash, because to me that is how you implement a new mechanic without trying to change the gameplay. All it is, for those who don't know, is literally when you jump in the air, you can hold down the jump button and you'll automatically do a spin dash when you hit the ground.
Yeah,
that's all it does. And my God, I do that more than I do spin dashes. Just because spin dashes, you have to fucking stop and you have to rev the shit up, so you lose momentum. Just adding that simple fucking mechanic makes the game flow so much better. And even having levels in there that I absolutely fucking hated as a child, like Chemical Plant, because I kept fucking drowning. I think everybody drowned when they first played that stage. I'm done. I'm fucking done.
Retro.
You guys are frauds, because I looked at your playtime and it only says a few minutes.
you only started playing it a few days ago.
Damn, I'd be playing it now. I think I'm on the last stage of Sonic's story. I need to do Knuckles and fucking.
Plus, then Tails can like fly.
Yeah, dude, like there's so much exploration because people never understood why people like Sonic games so much. It's that 3-tiered classic Sonic. It's that 3-tiered high, medium, and low path. If you're good enough at the game, you can stay on the high path. And to me, that shows your skill, because you can also speed run the fuck out of the game.
Oh, I can't wait to see some of these speed runs in this game. It's gonna be awesome.
So Retro is Retro a Sonic fan?
I don't know.
I never liked Sonic as a kid because when I think of Sonic games, I think of like running really fast and then you hit a wall and you stand still and then you have this momentum thing. It takes an hour to run again and then you finally run again and you hit an enemy or a spike and like you're like a hobo looking for your fucking rings on the floor. Like I might still get this game, but I'm not in a hurry. When I think of Sonic, I think of great level design, but I don't think of a fast gameplay, so I'm not in a rush to get it.
Yeah, I was thinking about it because I had a little extra cash flow, and I was like, people seem to like it, and maybe I'll check it out. But then that hit me that Mario plus Rabbids comes out in 8 days, and I was like, nah, I don't need it.
I mean, if you're not a Sonic fan, this game is not going to convince you to play.
No, it's
a
not.
Sonic fan because it's a very Sonic fan game. Yeah. So this is not the one that's going to do that. But for Sonic fans,
I was going to say, because I've seen non-Sonic fans pick this game up and start playing it, and I realized that things that come naturally, like people like, there are breakable walls in classic Sonic. Well, people don't realize that you need to spin dash in order to break the walls.
Right.
So I saw people literally get stuck on levels because they're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I'm like, come on, guys. It's like, I'm sitting there screaming at my monitor, just fucking spin dash at the wall. That's all you got to do. And then you realize that isn't the most intuitive thing you need to do.
It's like watching people die on the first Goomba in Super Mario Brothers. It's what the hell are you doing?
What confuses me because Mario to me is like one of the easiest games to figure out the controls for.
Well, that first part of that level is a tutorial. It trains you how to play.
You can mistime that jump when you get a little too cocky. And you think
you can.
But and you're trying to speed run. Here's one thing I want to talk about, and it's a really cool thing, but it's just for, not that I'm a Sega fan or Sonic fan, but the statue now that looks cool. It's way bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
But it just bugs me to no end that they didn't make it to scale with the real Genesis. It's like 2 inches wider. And it's just like, why did you just make it? It probably seems stupid to you guys, but why didn't they just make it the size of the Genesis?
I thought the same thing.
You know why? I saw an unboxing of it. It's because that Sega Genesis that he's standing on is an amalgamation of like every regional difference of the Sega Genesis. Like, because it doesn't look the same in every region. They tried to add parts from different regions of
so they got lazy.
Yeah, the part they forgot to add to my statue was the goddamn voice thing where it says Sega. I don't have it.
Oh, really? Oh yeah. Because I remember
it doesn't work, and it's pissing me off.
It don't work. It's there, but it just doesn't work.
And it's like I want to fix it, but it's not. It looks good on the outside, but it's not that well put together. I don't see.
Just hearing people hit that
pretty
switch.
Cheaply made. Yeah,
that switch sounds like garbage. It sounds like
it's really shoddy, that switch to begin with.
Yeah,
so I can see why mine has.
Made.
Yeah, it's very cheap.
Yeah, like Sonic himself is hollow.
Sonic himself is pretty. He's pretty sturdy though. He's hollow, but he's sturdy.
Yeah, he's surprisingly sturdy for a hollow ass statue. It
I was surprised.
The fuck out of me.
But the console itself, it's very squishy. It's like a squishy toy.
You feel like you can break the damn console.
Yeah, it's full of air. You squeeze it and you can hear the air come out of it. It's like, what the hell?
Literally, I opened it up for the unboxing video and put it right back in the box. That's how paranoid I was. So right now it's in the collector's edition box because I'm afraid to have it out.
I mean, I have mine out, but it's like,
if you want a good unboxing,
it fall apart or anything.
No, it's not that fragile.
It's just not the best.
To me,
I just have a sibling who's an asshole, and I'm not.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
It just seems like it's too big too, but
it's big. It's definitely big.
You want to watch?
It's deceptively big.
Yeah.
A good unboxing video is Just Jess with 3 S's. She did a pretty funny unboxing. It was pretty good.
Oh, videos are funny.
I did one. I just haven't put it together yet, and I compare it to both of the Genesis 1 and 2 and. The cartridge.
Yeah,
the cartridge. I put the fake one that comes with it with the ring in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so close. Like I took it and I put it inside the Sega Genesis case for Sonic 2. It fit, but it will not go down into the actual console. It's just a little bit bigger. It won't fit.
Let me ask you
nerd-worthy.
this. Let me ask you this. I mean, the statue looks okay, but it sounds like it, like the on-off switch sounded like terrible. It just sounded like
Flimsy.
plastic, like wedging into like other piece of plastic or
Oh,
something.
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's definitely
And,
exactly that.
You get like a metal credit card shaped card in that cartridge in the game.
That was weird.
Does it feel like it was worth $80 for the based on the quality and the amount of stuff you got? Because the game's $20 digitally.
I paid $60, so yeah.
So you paid $60, but it's normally $80. So how do you feel about it at $80? And 'cause that, to me, it seems like way overpriced.
Like you got robbed, especially if your shit don't work, like mine.
Yeah, I will say, because I mean, to be fair, because the metal card surprised me because I thought it was just gonna be a plastic card.
Yeah, it's
the ring is
it's aluminum.
good.
It's strong.
The ring is pretty good quality. The cartridge is really cool. I think literally the worst part is probably just the console base.
Yeah, the base. Yeah,
that's like the worst part, and I don't know. I think it depends on how big of a Sonic fan you are, because that's the only reason why you would buy it in the first place. Is if you were big into Sonic.
I've seen people spend way more money on way worse crap.
Yeah,
as far as collector editions go.
So I think I probably would say like it's a buy basis scenario, but I'm leaning towards like maybe like 75%. It was all right.
Does the ring have some weight to it?
I had to pay.
Yeah, it does. It does.
I don't know if I'd be as cool. I paid $56 and some change, so with my Amazon discount and all that. So I don't know.
That I mean, I was going to say
that's great.
50 to me, like $30 on top of the game, based on how cheap the statue and
that ring is real deal. That's a
but I'm saying like
that's not a plastic little ring. That is a strong. You can knock somebody out with that. You punch somebody with it on.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what's kind of saving it, is that the other stuff is so pretty. The
cartridge is awesome. Like that's awesome.
And people are like
hard to get mad about the damn base.
Yeah.
Asking for a physical copy of the game, but with the Switch, I mean, the cartridge is so miniature anyway. To me that, I don't know, that doesn't really add much.
Yeah. Well, people just want a box.
I don't mind not having a
maybe the box,
because of having all that other stuff with the special edition. But if you didn't get that, maybe you're feeling like you want something.
Yeah, because like if I bought the collector's edition, if I could get a box for that cartridge, I would just do that. That's all I fucking need, just to have it.
Well, I'll put it like this. I prefer my shit physical as well. And like I'm on the fence about getting it, yes or no. If I would see it in the store physically, I'd be more likely to pick it up than now doing all that shit on the eShop.
But how many $20 games you bought on the eShop? You probably have a decent
Switch, not many yet.
One
like,
on Switch,
one, I think that was $20.
I've bought more than I'm willing to admit.
Bought a few. I'm sure you bought a few.
Well, like I said, I think on the Switch, the only digital games I have is Kumiko or Kamiko. That was like $5.
Which is what? Pretty new. I meant like on the Wii U and stuff.
Yeah,
on the Wii U, the only digital games I bought on the Wii U, I think, were like virtual console games. Like I buy as much as I can physical. And most indie games, I get them on Steam anyway. Because on Steam, I get them for like $2 instead of 20.
Right. Okay, well, never mind. There goes my premise.
I was just for me, this seems better as a digital game. I mean, it's $20, and I don't know. I'm at a point now where I'm just like, I have no more. I'm gonna have to buy something to hold my cartridges and get a whole new carrying case that holds more or something, because I'm already maxed out with my carts, and I'm already got 4 or 5 more games for sure I'm getting this year. Yeah. So, and it's like, to me, like, this is more appealing as a digital game than if I saw it physically. I'm more inclined to buy it because it's digital than if it was a cartridge.
The thing is, like, the only downside to it is like, well, if you get it on Switch digitally, that's the only choice you have.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, Nintendo have to get the account system together. You know what I'm saying? Because you're worried, like, is this game going to be stuck to this console forever? And
that's why
something else.
That's why mine's saved to the SD card currently.
Like, that's the only thing you got to worry about. It's like, mine's on my SD card too.
Yeah, just out of paranoia. I guess the one thing we should talk about that's only an issue for the Switch version is that glitch where like you can't take pictures or the home screen, it lags out. I don't know if you had that issue too.
I've had that, yeah.
It's
I can take pictures. It just takes like 5 seconds.
yeah, but have you had it where it kind of like locks you out of hitting the home screen, home button? I mean,
No, I never got locked out. It just takes a longer time than any other game.
I was hearing from other people you ever getting like locked out, and I will admit that it does drag a bit, but it's not overly offensive. But it is weird considering how snappy like every other game is.
Right.
You think they'll fix that in the update? They just had to get the game out, and
Yeah, they've already mentioned they already mentioned it. I think they've already they have plans to patch it.
yeah, because I mean,
It's such a weird issue. There's
no excuse for the type of game it is. There's no excuse for it to have frame drops in the bonus stages. I mean, let's be real.
From what I heard, that was Tantalus helping to port that game. So I'm curious if maybe it's just because I don't notice the frame drops in the special stages because they're so minor. It's like
I mean, that game, no anti-aliasing. It looks just like the Sega CD type graphics, and there's no reason it shouldn't be locked 60 with that pushing nothing on screen, really.
Right.
It's not just about graphics, like I was saying earlier. It's about
optimization.
Optimizing. Yeah, so.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that I'm curious if that would ever get fixed in the patch either, but
it better.
I mean, I was saying if you did it for Bomberman, I think you would do it for Bomberman. Damn it!
But I will say, the DLC update for Zelda, I think I maybe mentioned this before, but I've been playing a lot more lately. The frame rate drops are worse since the DLC.
Really?
Kakariko Village when it's raining is pretty bad. Obviously Korak Forest is maybe as bad as it was in launch day, and then a new area which heading towards Loreline Village or whatever. There's a stable kind of in between there where there's like waterfalls and stuff, and the dragon Farash I think comes out there at night. It was like, damn, I knew I had a few stutters in this spot, but it's consistently feels like it's 20. So I don't know if that adding that DLC, that map feature, whatever, did something. But because I've been playing quite a bit, I got up to 17 hearts now in master mode and 63 shrines, I think. So putting a lot of time in it lately, and I was like, man, this is a bummer. It's actually is worse. I think it's the worst it's been. As far as the frame rate drops.
I was like, you're like the only person I've heard say anything about it.
I haven't heard anybody say that.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are actually going through and replaying it, though. Really.
I've seen a lot of people playing, especially the master mode.
And that freaking Trial of the Sword in master mode, that's absolutely ridiculous. This fucking bullshit. You start off with three blue bokoblins with,
oh, fuck that.
Tree branch.
No, eat a dick.
Like,
eat a dick.
You know how many freaking times I died like 4 or 5 times. Finally got past that part, got to the stone talus right before the first little rest area where you can get some food items and stuff. And I'm hitting him. I got a sledgehammer, and like I do just hold the button. He spins around, hits it like 6, 7 times. Normally that would just kill it. And it took like a quarter of its health. And I was like, fuck this. And of course it hit me with one punch and you're dead. So I don't know if I'll ever accomplish that. I don't know how Nintendo Ultra. I think he did all 3 on master mode, which is just ridiculous. But anyway, got a little off topic there. Anybody? Do we still have anything left to talk about Sonic Mania? I mean, you want to get any further into what do you expect from Sonic Forces now?
I get. See, the problem is because for me personally, I haven't been that excited for Sonic Forces ever since the game was announced. Because once we fucking saw that, it's just another generation style game, I'm a firm believer, and I know I'm in the minority of this. I'm a firm believer that the Lost World style had a lot of things to offer and had more variety of gameplay potentially locked in it. And because it got a negative reception and everyone was like, go back to the generation style, they went back to a safe zone. They did pretty much what people have people who complain about the new Super Mario Brothers series. It's the same thing. It's like, it's the same game. And so, but it's a safe game. It's a game that's guaranteed to make money. So Forces is pretty much just going to do, you're going to get reckless with the Sonic story again, but pretty much use the same safeguarded gameplay. And I'm like, y'all can do better than that. and I'm not saying Sonic Forces is automatically going to be trash, but it like my hype for that game is already pretty like mediocre right now. Like I'm at like a 5 or a 6 personally for that game.
I don't know about anybody else, but I preferred Sonic Lost World to, you know, Generations, that boost stuff. I didn't care for that stuff. I liked what Sonic Lost World was trying to do. I just felt like it had little tiny technical issues that ruined the game for me. You know?
Yeah. You could tell the game it was their first time trying out that system.
Yeah.
So they hadn't really figured out how to properly.
I think if they had another year, maybe it would have been what I wanted it to be.
Yeah, it's that fucking level design. That's what fucked it up.
It was a tiny technical issue. I fucking hated Lost World,
especially when you die.
Shit, like you're running and you can't even see half the level, and you walk to the right and the whole fucking level turns and everything turns around and shit. Lost World was a stupid idea.
Yeah, I think the level design is what really hurts Lost World.
I'm actually super excited about Forces, and you know why? Because when I looked at the trailer, what I saw was Sonic running. He ran. And
but it's a bunch of. It's a bunch of auto-targeting nonsense.
So,
yeah, but still, but
no, look,
people always like to say that those 3D things, you know, like on Dreamcast and shit, the adventure that is auto-targeting. But in the old school game, you go to the tubes as well automatically. It's just a different version of that, you know. And in between, you have enemies. Like it's the same thing, just from a different perspective. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, because I want to be fair here. Like I like Generations. I enjoyed the shit out of Generations. I played Generations a lot. So it's not like I hate that style of gameplay, but that style of gameplay, when I got introduced to Lost World showed me potentially something better, and it pisses me off that they literally walked away from it because they were like, oh, well, the fans all freaked out and said everything was trash, and so now we're going to go back to what's safe. And I'm like, see, that to me, Sonic can be expanded upon, and the Generation style doesn't have a lot you can expand upon. No. Literally. They already figured out how to do the level design in Generations, so all you're really gonna get is just another version of Generations with some new gimmicks with the create your character. That's it.
But what I always felt they should do with Sonic is go more the road of like Super Mario 64 or Sunshine, where you're not stuck on one lane. You can walk around freely, and there's just roads that you go to and everything. Like Sonic is still very streamlined, and I think that's what they kind of need to try to get rid of.
So pretty much like how Sonic Adventure used to be. At least that style.
But Sonic Adventure also had spots where you're like, you can move like one of 3
fall
into
the damn level, and it's like, oh, can I go this way? No, you can't.
What about did Adventures have where you're running in a 3D environment, but you can be in the middle lane, the left lane, or the right lane?
Oh, you're talking about some of the stages where there are certain portions where you were kind of locked.
That's my least favorite part about 3D Sonic is that, you're in like Lost Worlds did some of that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the reason why I said Lost Worlds mechanics work better, because you can climb up walls and fucking like run off the side of them, so you weren't limited. Even if the world looked like it was closed in, you could do so much like fancy dumb shit. The problem is that a lot of Lost Worlds levels didn't let you do that. A lot of Lost Worlds levels was like you're in this one lane and you get the choice of jumping between 3 areas.
Well, they did have segments that were more on rails, but it was a small part of like a level.
Yeah,
I felt in Lost World, and I do like I've been the hardest on that game out of everybody other than Retro. Until now, I thought I hated it the most. But it really, I think Nintendo would have helped them with some controls and with some polishing. I do think that that's the best 3D Sonic game I've ever played. I did not care for Generations other than the 2D parts. I don't like that the whole you're flying through the air, you hit it, the auto target's basically like a quick time event, and then choose your one of 3 lanes. Like I've never liked that kind of stuff. In Sonic Forces, for me, I'm watching, there's like a 3-level gameplay from E3. The 2D stuff looks way more interesting to me than the 3D. Like when I see the opening stage of Forces, I'm just like, yeah, that's a definite no-buy. But then when I see the 2D stuff with a lot of like cool stuff going on in the background, I'm like, now that looks like a game I could play. Like,
well, I was saying, most people like classic Sonic's 2D sections more than 3D Sonic's 2D sections because we all know the classic Sonic's 2D sections are better made than 3D Sonic's. The problem is is that instead of fucking just letting 3D Sonic be 3D Sonic, they were like, well, we're still gonna have 2D in there, so the game is not even really fully 3D. It's like fucking 75% 2D and like maybe 50 and like 25% 3D. And I'm like, well, then what the fuck is the point of using the generation style?
You know what I think was the perfect example for how I would imagine Sonic to be at this point, and sadly that is from Lost World, and that is the Zelda DLC, where you had an open world ID, you had roads you could take, you had different pathways, and if it was a strict path, you could run fast in straight ways, but you were still open and free to move around. The Zelda DLC and that did it really well.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the potential in Lost World I saw was through that DLC is a good example.
Yeah, but like that, the main game was just tubular bullshit.
Well, no, I'm not disagreeing. That look, I mean, I like
a lot of good levels in that game.
I'm about to say I enjoy Lost World probably the most out of everyone here, but even I recognize the tubular design does not benefit Sonic at all. All right, that was something they did to try to be different, and I feel like they really should have just focused on Sonic's.
That was an idea they were working on since the Saturn Sonic. That
Extreme.
Sonic Extreme, yeah.
So I feel like that's why I'm partially mad, is because I feel like you just left the better game mechanics for Sonic out the window, and then the fact that you just went to the safe shit and you're still doing the same damn thing. If like 3D Sonic, if like Sonic Generation Sonic was all 3D instead of this 3D have 2D bullshit, I probably wouldn't even mind this shit as much. But it annoys me. It feels like they literally just ripped Sonic Generations gameplay design and said, well, we'll just do that again.
They don't have any confidence, man.
That's not advancement of a franchise. You've literally just said, oh, we're just going to get typecasted, which is what people complained about with the new Super Mario Brothers series. That it was the same shit over and over again.
Which is crazy because the Wii U version, T was telling that story about playing Sonic Mania and being brought back to playing, open the cartridge. Like when I played New Super Mario Brothers U on the Wii U, and I think the third world, once you got a little bit more challenging and you get on Yoshi, like I felt like I was playing Super Mario World again for the first
Oh yeah, that one was I felt like that one was easily the best one.
I know a lot of people just dismiss, we've seen that same art style, but actually the fourth one was by far the best one.
I think the problem is that they burnt people out on it because they kept putting out that game almost year after year. I think they got.
There's only 4 since 2005. I mean, it wasn't
like a lot. It just felt like a lot. It like a really quick interval.
Yeah, they could have just called the shit Super Mario World 2 or 3 or something.
Because it was Yoshi's Island.
that was so stupid to do that.
What about new Yoshi's Island?
The super new Yoshi's Island. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We need to stop.
And because I'm watching this gameplay still going on, and they back to that first stage. And when Sonic stops here before all those, what do they call those, boost pads or whatever?
Yeah, boost pads.
It's like what they use for like pitching, to like have an automated pitch or whatever. But there's a spot where he stops and just runs around in his full 360-degree control, but it's just a small little area. Then you're back to choosing, path A, B, or C while you're being forced forward. Like, I don't know. I guess, if Sonic fans think that's good, but
I mean, it's fun.
Can Sonic work in just a 3D environment? Like somebody made.
He can totally work in a 3D environment.
Yeah, because somebody made one, a fan, and I don't know, probably could find it. And then he created this kind of environment with, I don't know if it was Unreal Engine 3 or whatever. And it was just kind of an open world concept for, not open world, but like a Super Mario 64 with Sonic, where you were not stuck to any one thing. And it looked like it was very promising. Obviously, it had no budget and stuff. And if you had some money and some good technical programmers and stuff, it looked like it would have worked. And they just won't do that. Because people need to go fast. And that's probably my least favorite thing about Sonic, is the speed causes it to have to sacrifice control and gameplay and like being able to actually
camera and all that shit.
Yeah, the camera's
out the window.
I think that's why, because they're like, well, how do you go so fast and still keep the camera structured, and how do you still?
I mean, that's always been a problem with Sonic, even the 2D ones, where you just be leaving the damn screen behind.
Yeah,
and at times you just put the controller down. Like, that's, to me, like, that's always been the problem with Sonic. Why I can't get on board with the series. It's just too hands off at times.
Yeah, I can understand that because people, even like Sonic fans, recognize that a lot of some games have a lot of automation in it, where you can go like a good like 10, 30, almost a minute worth of time where the game is just playing itself, and people are like, "Well, what the fuck is the point of playing the game?"
Yeah.
People really hated that.
Every 10 seconds, you're just falling and your rings are bursting out of you.
I mean, I was saying, yeah, because like to me, Sonic Mania does the same thing, but Sonic Mania kind of explains why that was interesting in the first place. Yeah. Because in Sonic Mania, the whole goal was to keeping that speed. Because like they would put obstacles in front of you, and if you knew where you were supposed to jump, you could completely avoid that shit and keep going.
Yeah, if you keep moving, you know.
And I mean,
like falling, you know, falling platforms and all that kind of stuff. But if you know where all that stuff is, you can look like a boss going through those levels.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I feel like I should point out that there is a Sonic game I absolutely loved. It was called Sonic Rush on Nintendo DS.
Oh, I'm surprised you like that game.
To me, that was how it was all 2D, wasn't it? It was
Sonic Rush.
Yeah, it was all 2D.
To use both the top and bottom screen. Like to me, that was a great game. Some of the boss fights were were in 3D unnecessarily. And
and they drag a little bit.
But I love that game. That's my favorite Sonic game.
I'm surprised that you like the first game in the Boost Formula saga, because that's where the Boost. That's where the Boost Formula comes from. Is from Rush.
But it's all 2D except for the dumb bosses. But
yeah, but I guess because you feel like you're in control and you have to earn the gauge for the boost.
Yeah, and I gave that to my nephew for a birthday or Christmas gift because I didn't think to get him anything, and I was like, he was excited about having a DS, so I wrapped it up. And years after I'd beaten it,
lazy ass present,
and he couldn't even beat the first. Yeah, it was, but he couldn't even beat the first boss, and he gave up, never played the game again. And I'm gonna see if he still has it, but I really like that game.
Sonics is not something for young kids. Like my son doesn't like it at all. I try to give him Mania, and nope, he's not feeling it.
I'm about to say, because Rush is one of my favorite handheld Sonic games. So I'm surprised that you liked it as much as you do. But
did they ever bring that to
Rush is a good game.
They made a sequel. It's called Rush Adventure on the DS.
I know, but did they ever bring Rush to anything else?
No, Rush is only on the DS.
Well, how's there 1080p gameplay of Sonic Rush?
It's called modding and hacking.
Modding, yeah.
I was about to say, someone took a DS emulator and they fucking upscaled it. That's what it is. It's the same thing they did with the Wii.
How does it look? Does it look good?
I mean, that was.
I guess the overall image is 1080, but I'll send you the link.
What about the screen? Is the screen like?
Yeah, you'll see.
Because Sonic Rush wasn't a game you had to do in dual screen. They just made the game for it to. Well, actually, you probably could play Colors and Colors. You probably like Colors DS, because Colors DS plays like Rush.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this game, and I was.
Oh, dude, I love this game partially because I like where they went with the story, introducing Blaze.
Great.
They're gonna bullshit around. You're gonna say Sonic R or some shit like that.
Sonic R.
Well, Sonic R for some reason has a really mixed reception. Some people really like what Sonic R was trying to do.
I like what I was trying to do, but them controls are atrocious.
Well, I'm about to say, to me, when you get to those higher Mach speeds and the special stages in Mania, bruh, that Sonic R control, man, that shit is almost. I'm flying off the fucking screen.
They're flying all over the place on the first damn race.
I will say though, the one thing I can't stand about Mania right now is I've gotten crushed so many fucking times in this game. Is infuriating.
Where spikes or something are coming down and you think you're clear.
We'll see. And getting crushed in Classic Sonic also means a platform going up too high and the ceiling being right there, and you getting crushed by the fucking ceiling. That happened to me like 3 times, and I was like, "Son of a bitch!" Every time I'm trying to get through the stage, I get crushed by something, which is the risk of going super fast.
No, this isn't anything modded. This is like a stretched ass image.
Yeah.
Also, did someone just fucking take Sonic Rush gameplay? Yeah.
They just put images on the left and right.
Yeah, they put images on the
static images.
Oh, that's Kobe. Okay. All right, know who that is. Hey.
Oh, you know this? Oh yeah, I know what this is.
Because he does every Sonic game. He's literally Let's Play almost every Sonic game.
Well, something funny actually, like one of my favorite Sonic games is actually, and that's probably why I want Sonic to be a bit more open. One of my favorite games, and I'm that serious, is Sonic 3D Blast on the Mega Drive, the Genesis for you guys, I guess, because that was a 3D game basically.
That fucking perspective was ass,
Pseudo.
dude.
It probably had terrible frame rate. I'm just guessing.
It wasn't the frame rate, dude. It's the fucking perspective because you can't. You think you can jump on things, but the perspective fucks you up, so you don't make jumps that you think you should be making.
But that's why at this point you could have a great evolution of that concept where you can free roam but still have all the speed elements integrated.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say fucking Sonic 3D Blast had great speed elements personally.
Nah, it did. It was really cool.
Bullshit.
That's nostalgia talking right there.
Yeah, go back and play that game, sir.
I'm running faster in 3D Blast than standard Sonic games, because at least there I don't have spikes every fucking 2 steps.
Okay, first off, that was an exaggeration. Second off,
You're misrepresenting the game.
That's misrepresentation.
I'm calling shenanigans on that.
Yeah, that's bull, dude. Yeah, but I told you if you were good, you'd be avoiding the spikes anyway.
Oh, get good, son.
Did anyone think I'd be allowing a Sonic discussion to go this long?
I'm actually
I know. I'm like
I'm
surprised.
surprised you haven't shut this shit down, to be honest.
Getting close.
I'm waiting because I'm waiting for just to be like, all right, that's enough. We're done here. And I'm like, oh
So is
god.
Gamescom like happening right now?
Yeah,
Start.
it's still happening. Like I think Tuesday and Wednesday we're getting the Mario footage and the Metroid footage for Nintendo, and then I think what the fuck is tomorrow? I don't remember what tomorrow is.
Jurassic World Evolution.
Yeah, well
announcement
that got announced during
Is
the
that a game?
Xbox. Yeah, it got announced during the Xbox conference, which I did kind of want to talk about because I know because people have been mentioning to me lately
Isn't
that
it like a park simulator?
yeah, it's like Roller Coaster Tycoon pretty much.
Oh, okay, I see.
You get to build your own Jurassic World, which I'm
They're
surprised.
really excited, man. They're excited.
Yeah,
Like
because
Robert
apparently the pre-orders for Xbox One X have been really good. Supposedly, like it's been selling out.
I'm not surprised by that.
Apparently,
There's
I
a
don't
certain
believe
fan base that's gonna.
I don't believe that either. I think that's all.
I
hardcore.
don't believe it 1 second.
Yeah, that's hardcore fans. I don't believe that's like actual.
Well, I mean, hardcore. I mean,
Oh, it's selling out.
how many are you talking about? Like, that's
Yeah,
the
they
thing.
manufactured 100,000.
Well, because think about it. All right, I'm gonna say this because like I was watching the conference last night, and like one of the biggest things they announced was, oh, look at these new custom controllers we have out, and I'm like, guys, you have a new console, and the first thing you're showing off is the custom controllers. You delayed Crackdown 3, so that comes out next year now. And the games you're promoting the most is like Super Lucky's Tale and fucking Forza. And I think and their Xbox One X enhanced games. Which
Can we just start?
Super Lucky
Can we
Tale,
shit
man.
talk the Xbox One X right now? Because let's talk about that Major Nelson announcement for the pre-orders and stuff.
are you talking about the
I
Project Scorpio edition?
Man,
Just
leave
the
it.
announcement that pre-orders went live. I only watched 5-10 seconds of it.
Oh, it's at the very end of the conference when they announced when the pre-orders went live.
All I know is Major Nelson come on to announce it, and his fake enthusiasm for this. I mean, announcing the pre-orders like in an actual video format, like how pretentious is that? I don't know. That just
Well, the fact that they held the information hostage until the shit was over.
I don't know,
Like,
it
They
seemed
kept
like
the
who
shit
cares?
started and they kept teasing. Oh well, we have the special Xbox One X pre-orders announcement at the very end, and we got some for you Minecraft players, which all it is a Minecraft themed Xbox One S, which to me is super late because I mean, you could have did this shit as soon as you got the rights to Minecraft from the get-go.
Yeah, it's
Like,
weird.
and then like all the footage they showed us more Assassin's Creed, fucking the Jurassic World Tycoon, which is what I'm calling it now. Fucking what was I don't even Cuphead we now know is going to Steam. That was when it was mentioned because we didn't know that. We didn't know
When's
that
the-
before.
When's the release date for Cuphead?
It's like September, isn't it? It's like September.
So that is a new thing.
yeah, like the Steam release was something we didn't know about before. That's
Yeah,
something
that wasn't exclusive for a long time, but it's coming to Steam, not just Windows 10.
yeah, it's coming to Steam.
Wow.
Man,
they-
Microsoft shady as hell.
So they lost that. And
Wasn't
then-
that a console launch exclusive game?
Yeah, they did that. They did that with Quantum Break. They waited like 2 months before it came
Oh
out.
yeah, and, Record Definitive Edition. That's the other thing I forgot. to
Record
mention.
Definitive, baby.
Are you gonna
Yeah,
have textures
boy.
now? The game?
Yeah, is there actually going to be like some?
Yeah,
Actual
it comes out next week. It comes out next week.
Yeah,
What's definitive about it? Did they actually
it visually looks good, man.
Yeah, it's like well, I think it also has a PC release too.
I gotta say though, Battlefront 2, the space battles thing that during EA's, it reminded me of the Rogue Squadron series. Like it looks like that type of
fuck
gameplay.
EA.
I want to say that, I'm right with you, but man, this looks like the best we've since Rogue Squadron.
I'm gonna get it in the used bin though. Fuck them.
Yeah, Cuphead comes out September 29th on Steam. And then Recore comes out It comes out the same day as Mario Rabbids.
Recore.
Did Recore even sell?
No one cared about it.
Like
it came out. Well, think about it. It's a game that came out last year. It came out last year, and we already have a definitive edition of it. And it hasn't even been a year yet.
I think that game got a bum rap. I think Recore.
I think they changed some stuff. Like there's more DLC, and they've changed some levels up. I think like it's a pretty extensive definitive edition from what I saw.
It's Recore is if Jet Force Gemini came out today. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody loves Jet Force Gemini. There's another game. That's another one of those cult games everybody loved that they didn't really buy that much when it came out. It sold okay, but I think Recore is an old school type of game because there's a lot of like there's backtracking, but there's a lot of like fetching. You know, you have to find all.
There's a lot of shooting the same.
There's a lot of shooting the same. You're right, and that happens a lot in Jet Force Gemini. And everybody, I want Jet Force Gemini. I want a new one. But that to me is what Jet Force Gemini would be today, and people would be the same on that game too. So.
Yeah, I'm watching this definitive edition trailer, and it looks
like never mind. I was about to link
game.
I'm about to say I was going to link it to you. Never mind.
It looks like they've changed nothing visually, which I thought maybe
I think it gets the 4K patch when Xbox One X comes out.
Yeah, and it's free, man.
You need something to make 4K.
Oh yeah, it's a free update. Yeah, it's a free update.
You know they're desperate if they're pulling Recore back out to try to have a game for the Xbox One X in 4K.
What else do they have this year? They literally have, I think, what else? I think it's Forza and Super Lucky's Tale, I think, are the only two new games.
So terrible.
That can't be
true.
That is it's terrible because of the Xbox One X. It's like it's even worse because of that thing. And it's like that thing is all about power. That's just plain and simple. That's what it's about. Power, 4K textures, and all that stuff.
But to not have a game. You got
Super Lucky's Tale and Recore.
You know, in the PlayStation.
I feel like I'm missing games. To be fair, so I don't think that's it. I think
no. You got Halo Wars 2,
but that was already out.
Forza 7.
I'm saying those are the exclusives for the year.
Oh yeah.
For the entire year,
they have like 3 or 4 games for exclusives.
I think even the Wii U did better when it was dying.
Even Wii U in its worst year did better than that.
Yeah, Wii U in 2016 had, as far as an exclusive standpoint, was better. It had, Twilight Princess technically not exclusive, but it had
Tokyo Mirage Sessions,
Tokyo Mirage. It had
Star Fox,
Paper Mario, Star Fox.
But it didn't have multiplayer,
Smoking Tournament.
We're missing something.
That's already more.
That's what the counter argument would be. It's like, well, okay, so you're putting out a new console, and you're basing its success on multiplats.
Let's see.
You have nothing to like really make it.
Oh, World of Tanks, which is a game that's coming out on PS4.
Been out.
Even with Crackdown 3, they had nothing to show off.
Because Crackdown 3 looked like ass when we saw it in 3.
I'm just saying, like that was not the game they show off your Xbox One. So why did they not? They should have held back. I said it before. They should have held back Gears of War, and brought it out this year. And
when the fuck did Gears of War come out? I forget.
About last holiday.
Yeah,
They should have pushed it a year.
The thing with Crackdown is that it is exactly the same as what happened with No Man's Sky. Like the game was gonna be all this great, all this good looking, gonna be able to do all this shit, and they like removed everything from it.
Yeah. From the footage I've seen of it, it just looked like complete ass.
Crackdowns have never been that great. That great of a series, anyways.
I do like the art style, the new one though. I do like that.
Yeah, like because the only reason why I want to bring it up is because people are sitting there. Because I was sitting there watching some of the Xbox podcasts right after the shit ended, and people were sitting there talking about because they were like, why is it that they can't just make more exclusive studios? And this argument, I'm just curious what you guys think about it.
I think you heard the same podcast I heard.
Yeah, the argument I heard was like you take a studio like 343, right?
Yeah.
The argument was either why don't you hire more people make it a separate studio to make new games, or why wouldn't you just have 343 work on something?
The same podcast as I was.
Yeah, or 343 working on like just make them work on a new game.
Yeah.
And most people were like, "Oh, just make it a new studio," and I'm like, "Well, I mean."
Why?
Nintendo has multiple internal companies that work on. I mean, for God's sakes, the ARMS and the Splatoon creators are part of other teams.
Yeah, they pull people from other teams to do these games. Like,
so why the fuck? So why the fuck do you need to make a brand new team that people are going to be overly worried
ain't great anymore? So what's it gonna hurt pulling people?
Listen, chill out. All right, listen. The point I was.
What was it, Halo 5? Like,
and I like Halo. It's not.
No one talked about that for very long. That's for sure.
The Halo, it literally came out and like people talked about it for like a week, and that was about it. I heard like nothing else of that game after the fact. But I don't understand why Xbox. Cause it confused me because Xbox, most of the gamers are like, "Oh, just make a new studio." Well, why can't 343 work on a different IP? I don't understand why people.
Why is that a hard thing to?
Yeah, because they were so against it in the podcast. They were like, "Oh, I don't want them to work on anything different."
They got working on Gears of War now.
Coalition.
Yeah.
I mean,
why do I know these things?
Even like the biggest fans of Gears felt like it didn't really do much to advance the series for sure.
We already know that.
You have a fan base that don't even want you to mess with
it. Do anything. They can't handle studios properly. They had Rare, and they did nothing with them. Connect toys and shit.
Hey man, what about CFPs though?
They had all the studios that they shut down, and projects are being closed, and studios being disbanded. It's like they're doing the exact opposite of what you need to do to make games.
You got all those freaking iconic IPs that everybody wants to see. Why are people making games in those IPs?
Because they aren't hiring studios to make
That's right up your alley.
They're not hiring studios to make the games. That's the biggest problem. Because I mean, it's not like it has to be made internally. Just hire
somebody.
Yeah, hire a second party developer to make the games instead of just sitting on the IPs, which is what they're doing now.
Is a first-person shooter. Why is that a hard game to come up with?
Because people get mad at me when I talk shit about Xbox, which is why I don't mention it as much. And I'm like, well, the reason why is because it's a company that literally doesn't even do the basic making games part.
They had it right to begin with. They came out of the gate the right way with the Xbox One or original Xbox. Excuse me, dumbass naming of the Xbox original. They had it right. They grabbed Sega. They had all those Sega exclusives, and they had a lot of exclusives on the original Xbox. I
thought that because to me, like one of the most offensive things that happened in that damn conference yesterday was here's the pre-orders for the Xbox One X, and here's a professional unboxing of it, and then the unboxing of it is the Project Scorpio edition.
I don't want to see no corporate person unbox anything. It's just
look how
tiny did that for the Wii U, and that's
whack.
That was corny as hell, dude. And on top of that, it's like, here's the Project Scorpio edition. So literally, you just kept the code name and put it on the front of the box and acted like it was something new and special. I mean, and people were like, I'm excited for the console.
All it did was remind people is that they wanted it to be called that and not what you're calling it.
Yeah,
they wanted it to be called Scorpio.
And let's just say, Xbox One X, the biggest thing it's going to do, it's going to boost Forza sales this year over last year.
Oh yeah, there is Forza.
What is that franchise sales?
I guarantee you, Forza 7 will sell at least twice as many as Forza 6.
You want to know why? Also, it's actually on PC this time. That's the other reason.
Well, just because it's the only true 4K native 60 frames per second new game that is going to make worth the price of the system to see better visuals, because everything else is.
All I'm saying is, Forza really the game that justifies.
Those games are already gorgeous.
What I'm telling you is, it will, because people will buy, anyone that buys the X, whether they're Forza fans or not, will buy Forza 7
you gotta have that game,
because it's the only 1080 or 4K native 60 frames per second game that's not a game they've already played through.
Right, it's going to justify your purchase of that $500 box.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, if you don't want to buy it on PC.
Right. Right.
Well, a lot of people probably can't run that game in 4K. I got like $1,600 in my computer PC, and I couldn't run that at 4K.
Well, that's true.
That is not. Doing what the Xbox One does for that price is virtually impossible.
So if you're buying Xbox One X, it's going to be almost 1-to-1 with Forza 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, but people keep forgetting though that to get the full benefit, you still need a 4K TV.
Yeah.
That's true. Which is, to be
You get
fair,
the
that
full
argument is becoming less and less relevant because more people are buying 4K TVs.
Are they?
I'll put it this way: more than last year.
Well, that's good.
I'm not gonna say it's like a fucking jump up.
It's not a jump to where people were coming from SD to HD for the first time, which was that happened really quick and surprised a lot of people, especially Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean, there's a decent amount of 4K TVs out there. Not a whole lot of really good ones, though. Like, people don't realize...
How many 4K stations are there that actually benefit?
There isn't any cable stations in my area, but I'm just saying people don't realize for gaming, there's not a lot of TVs out there that have decent refresh rates.
You got to have a good refresh rate on your 4K.
So you have
60 frames.
At Best Buy, these salesmen telling people, "Oh, if you're going to be doing gaming, you got to get 4K." Well, they don't realize that there's way more lag. Who's that guy that did that? He made a video about how complicated it was getting his PS4 Pro to run. He's a pretty big YouTuber. He's got I think he's got long hair.
Oh, motherfucker!
And he was talking about the input lag he was facing, and like people don't realize, like, unless you go out and buy like an OLED, which apparently has the smallest response time, is like almost instant. You're going to be dealing with input lag. You bought a cheap, like, I don't want to say Vizio is cheap, but if you bought like
it's cheap,
a 65 or 70-inch Vizio for $1,000, that's 4K. You're probably going to be dealing with some input lag. So,
right, what's your refresh rate? You need at least 120 hertz on that.
They're not the best for gaming at this point. So anyway, I was looking up sales of Forza Motorsport 6 just to kind of go off what I was just saying, and it's, according to VG charts, it sold just under 2 million. So I'm thinking Forza 7.
Those games don't.
Yeah, but Forza 7 is not going to be able to double that because there's not going to be 4 million Xbox One X purchases.
No, especially when you're not even on the damn MPD chart.
But
you're not even charting.
As far as attach rate, will be more than double obviously.
I guess
the attach rate will be, I think, like 8 to.
It's Forza fatigue, man. People just are tired
because they come out with them like every fucking year.
And I know one's the arcade one and one's the sim one, but
you can't. What's the difference? I can't tell the difference.
Forza, motherfucker.
All right, so let's we'll wrap this up. This might be a bad decision to bring this topic up, but I was going to do a Juice Opinions on Friday, and it was going to be called Nintendo was in the Switch, or Nintendo was killing it with the Switch. And I just want to point out, because we're almost at the 6-month mark, we're a couple weeks shy. Switch has been out 5.5 months basically, and they already have 2 games at 4 million. It's not official, but at the end of the last quarter, Mario Kart 8 was at 3.5 and Zelda was at 3.8, not including, that might include a digital. So we're talking, Mario Kart 8 is probably not quite there. Zelda, pretty sure, is there. 2 first-party games within the first 6 months are at 4 million. Splatoon 2 is already over 2 million, with 1 million just in Japan and the US each having 1 million. They didn't say Europe yet. And then you got ARMS at like 1.25 million. I think 1-2 Switch is over 1 million.
Yeah.
Like, what other console launch in its first 6 months had even 1 game at 4 million sold within the first 6 months, let alone 2, and then basically 5 games over 1 million first party? Like, I don't know. No one's really talking about that, but I would be really shocked if that anything even close to that's ever happened.
Nobody's put out that many first-party games in the first year of a console, so that's I'll already tell you that hasn't happened. That has never happened.
I'm looking at these Forza numbers, and there's on the Xbox One they're hovering around 2 million every iteration, and that thing's got a 30 million install base at this point. It's like the Switch has 2 games around 4 million.
Flagship racer, like that's.
It's crazy. It's been 6 months, and you count. I'm sure their total first-party software sales are probably around 10 million. Doing math in my head, it's over 10 million. It's probably like closer to 15, and that's just the first 6 months, and we still have heavy hitter in Mario Odyssey, and I don't know, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 will probably be decent. Won't be like a huge.
It'll probably be around a million.
I think Sonic Mania is going to sell 1 million on the Switch.
I think Mario and Rabbids is going to do really well.
Mario Rabbids should
especially
do well.
Here in France, it's a country filled with robots. They all like this fucking rabbit. That game is so bad.
Man is a
That
savage.
game looks. I'm sorry, people keep calling me crazy. That
You are
game,
crazy, Juice.
because it's a 30 frames per second target game engine, so automatically they have way more room to like push texture quality and things. That to me is just raw visual, better looking game from a technical standpoint than Mario Odyssey. Now Mario Odyssey's artistic on the like sand level to me looks way better, but like the jungle and the New Donk City to me looks way lower quality than what Mario plus Rabbids what I'm seeing. It's just 30 frames per second in a slower RPG style game versus a 60 frames per second more of an action-y open world type game. So I mean, I'm not saying it shouldn't. It's just automatically probably going to look better just because it's 30 frames and it's a slower pace, and they don't have to worry about camera moving around and stuff.
Right.
But it's just a freaking gorgeous game. Even the cutscenes just look amazing. It's like make a Mario movie in CGI and have it look just like Mario plus Rabbids, like that quality, and I'd be happy. That's how good it looks to me.
I'm still surprised even more with the graphics, with the amount of animations within the standard gameplay. Like, it is so crazy how nice everything moves. Like, you just don't see that in a lot of games.
And yeah, it's well.
Yeah, they run and they hide and they move and they do stuff. When you have some other games, like let's some random like Rainbow Six kind of shit, like you move your soldier somewhere and he sits and it's like 2 frames, a frame to move forward and a frame to sit.
Shit. Because I don't care about all that stuff, man.
Well, let's get back to just Nintendo, the success, what they've just the software sales and those titles, plus even Street Fighter is like at 500,000. And some indie games having big success. I mean, it's obviously people are talking about this, how the Switch is a phenomenon, and but no one's really talking about just that fact. Like, when have we ever seen, if we've ever seen anything like this in the first 6 months, as far as the actual game sales along with the system? It's pretty incredible, actually.
Did the Wii have something? I have no idea, but did the Wii have something like that? Numbers?
Twilight Princess.
A couple of games here and there, but not.
Yeah, it took.
Yeah, you're also got to talk about what consoles are actually getting these amount of games within the first year like this. First party, I mean, support. Because I mean, even most consoles don't release this many consistent, heavy-hitting first-party games back to back in the first year.
It usually takes them year 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Right. Nobody puts this many games out in this short amount of time. It's just nobody does it.
So I wonder if that's part of the reason why it feels like it's like, wow, how's this happening?
Still, I mean, they put out these games, they weren't guaranteed to all be bought. Like,
no. Your thing is, I think we all agree it's unheard of. It's not just because they're doing it. No, it's obviously because the Switch is that successful, it's that popular. It's not just because a company is putting out a bunch of first-party games on the console in the first year. Nobody else would have been able to pull this off. It's just the impact of the Switch that's helping this, this happen.
Because the thing also with the Switch is
shortcomings of the Wii U.
Like you said, you're not buying like fillers and waiting for something to get released. Since day one, every month, they're like heavy fucking games.
And I can't wait to see the end of the holiday, Mario Odyssey, plus Zelda gonna get a resurgence during the holidays as more people get the system, and plus it's actually back and they're seeming to finally caught up with the stock. I think they're amping the production's finally caught up and paid off, because I'm hearing a lot of people reporting seeing them in stores. Somebody took a picture at Best Buy and they had stacks of them, like the PS4 Pro during Christmas when Terrell took that picture.
Well, in the West, at least for now.
And then, Japan numbers are still 80, 90,000 a week, so they're definitely keeping them there.
Oh yeah, people are losing their minds over there. Like, oh my god, I need to get the goddamn game.
So it's just I can't even comprehend like what's it going to be December 31st or March 3rd through December 31st. Like what's going to be the final totals for. I mean, it's technically not the first full year. But it's in the first, you know.
You talking about game sales or console sales?
Both, basically. I just at what it's at right now, and you know, by the end of the year, it's gonna.
Okay,
be
so we know at the end of June, it was around almost 5 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say the Switch will probably be a little bit around. I'll say 12, 13 million. Yeah, pretty much it'll beat the Wii U out or be really close to the Wii U's numbers.
By March 3rd, 2018, I think it'll be.
Yeah, if we're going all the way into March 3rd, 2018, then yeah, it'll beat the Wii U. If we're going to the end of the year, it'll at least be at around the Wii U's numbers.
Oh, that's what I said in a previous podcast. It's gonna beat the Wii U, and it's before end of December for sure.
Yeah, but if we're talking like game sales, I think Splatoon 2 will probably be around. I'm gonna be reckless, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be around like 5 million in total. ARMS, I'm guessing maybe 3. Mario will probably be at like 8. Zelda, go ahead.
You think Mario can get in a month or 2 months? You think can get that? I was thinking more like 5.
Well, you're also it'll be the same time where a whole bunch of new Switch owners are jumping in.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I think Zelda will get a 2 million bump from now until the end of the year.
Oh yeah, what's the
Zelda's at what, like 6?
Or
4? Okay. Yeah, actually, I would argue Zelda might especially if the DLC is really good. I would argue Zelda might end up in like, because you're only counting the Switch version, you're not counting the Wii U version.
Yeah, I'm just counting Switch.
Maybe another 1 million or 2 million. But I wouldn't be surprised if Mario hit around 8. Just because,
like I said, it's Christmas. Mario is the perfect Christmas present, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so is Nintendo in general. The best gift, Nintendo is the gift that keeps giving.
I've been watching this Mario.
Christmas is the moment when parents will buy that shit for their kids.
Yeah,
we haven't had a holiday season for the Switch yet, people. This is insane, and it's
some people are probably already trying to buy it for Christmas presents just because they know it's gonna be hard to find. But
yeah,
if they can keep like from one restock to the next, if they don't all sell out, then they'll definitely be able to build up some stock for the holidays.
I think they're starting to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, they were gone at Myers I go to within a week, but it took almost that whole week for that last restock to go. And then GameStop had just reported. Shout out to Zobi70. He finally got one. I didn't think he was going to get one, which I think
I told you to get off that man head.
And we haven't heard from him since the next day. He's guessing he's been
gaming on that Zelda. He's gone.
But yeah, I've watched this Mario plus Rabbids about 10 times during this segment. Like
it is gorgeous. That's a great trailer.
That's like I said, just make this into a movie. Like it doesn't have to be much more beyond this as far as the level of detail. It looks gorgeous.
Man, I just realized, aren't the Super Famicom or Super NES pre-orders supposed to go up within the next like week or two? Because it's the end of August, and then they just put out a fucking trailer where they announce, "Oh yeah, you can rewind your games on there," and I'm like, "What?
You can rewind them?
You can rewind them. Like, let's say you die in a Mario boss, you can rewind it back before you get hit, and then continue to play it."
Oh, like in Forza games or in racing games where they made it so you didn't have to start the whole race over. You could just
pretty much, yeah.
Huh? That's kind of a cool mechanic. I mean,
it's like you can go back like 12 frames, not 12 frames, but like 12. Seconds. I don't know how you describe it. It's not seconds. It's like I put the trailer in the chat. When you watch it, you'll see like Mario get hit by one of the bosses, and then he skips frames backwards and then plays it right before he gets hit.
That's cool. It's better than having to go back to your previous save spot. And
it's the evolution of the save state. We've figured it out. Instead of fucking making me instead of making me reopen a save state, I can just go back in time.
And you have to actually make that save state. So if you're somebody who's maybe not as good at Mario 64, every 5 seconds you got to save current. I'm gonna create a new save point.
Yeah, because some games don't really give you that luxury to make the save state because they're not designed for you to make save states in the first place.
Yeah, so that's kind of a cool feature. But honestly, I've put that thing out of my mind. I got too much other stuff to play. Like I'm not really gonna put much effort into it, trying to get one.
Oh, okay. It's fine.
You know, Star Fox 2, it's cool that it's there, but it probably gonna play like trash compared to you know what I remember Star Fox playing like.
You mean like the greatness of Star Fox Zero?
I guarantee you Star Fox Zero controls way better.
Oh, it probably does. But that's also because I'm not overly used to replaying on the SNES again. I haven't played on the Super Nintendo in years.
It's just like I'm gonna have time to start these old games over when there's all these Switch games I'm be playing. So it's just.
But here's the question: if you see it in the store,
you better get it from me.
If I see it in the store,
this time.
I see T in the corner like, where's
not wait for me to figure it out.
T's in the corner like, where's my fucking game console? I need it.
If I see one, I'll definitely pick one up. And
God damn it, the NES is still bothering me.
You're
I can't like. I was posting pictures of the Switch. I didn't barely even pay attention to the fact that thing was sitting there, and T didn't see it right away.
I didn't. Yeah.
But anyway,
my one shot.
As one of Sony's executives said a couple days ago, like it's good to have Nintendo back.
Yeah,
it's very true. I forget who said that.
Someone from Sony, I think.
Yeah, it was like a PlayStation guy.
Back, what you talking about? They never left the Wii U.
He's saying that, but
they go, boy.
They're saying that, and then they're looking at these Zelda and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sales without having it in a bundle, having to give away like Uncharted 4.
Yeah, they just announced that Splatoon 2 bundle for Walmart, and you're like, what the fuck?
And you're paying for the game plus
digital only, motherfucker.
Yeah. So they're probably like, it's good to have Nintendo back, but god damn it, how do they do it? How do they get these sales?
Well, because to be honest with you, sometimes that shit doesn't make any sense.
They don't want Nintendo back. That's why I think that's one of the reasons we don't have Dragon Quest 11 in Japan yet. They ain't want that competition on the Switch.
Bruh, I don't even like that shit, man. It's funny because it's sold more on the 3DS.
Yeah.
They say out one side of their neck is good to have them back. The other side, like, damn, we got to hold back some of these games from them.
Wow.
So
I mean, I'm not gonna lie because I still can't believe that the 1-2 Switch sold past 1 million. That's like the biggest rip-off in gaming history almost. Like, Nintendo just sells shit.
That's some pretty garbage game. That definitely is a $20 maximum $20 game.
You know what annoys me about that is like
what
people
game?
were saying
1-2 Switch.
1-2 Switch.
Oh.
People were saying it should have bundled it, okay? And I don't want the game, so I don't care that it's not bundled.
Yeah.
But people say, look, it sold well, so it was smart of Nintendo not to do that. So that's good for them. like that benefits me in no way that 1-2 Switch sold. Actually, it benefits you that a game like that sold well. Because Nintendo know they can get away with that shit, and you don't want Nintendo knowing that stuff.
Well, I mean, I'm on two sides of that because on one hand, I never thought it should be bundled because it isn't what the Switch is about to me.
Right.
It was just a demo thing, proof of concept for HD Rumble. So to me, like, it's not representing what I want the Switch to do and be. So like, I didn't want it in there.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it sold 1 million at $50 pisses me off.
That's what I'm saying.
It does prove that it didn't need to be included, but I mainly think it didn't need to be included just because it's not for me. It's not what I think the Switch should be about at all. It's just like it's an HD Rumble demo. Is what
I just don't like the defense of it sold well. Nintendo was smart not to bundle it. Well, fuck that.
Well, no, I didn't want to include it either, but some people tend to forget, like, if it would have been bundled, that is what I didn't want it, because I don't want to buy the game.
Price would have went up.
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't want to pay for that. That's what I'm saying. It should have been just like some rinky-dink demo
also,
type of situation on the console.
That's wasting data on my console. I don't want that shit.
Well, you have the choice to download it. Like, you could at least have that choice. It could be a preloaded thing like they do with the 3DS. It's like, oh,
But
there
you
it
would
is.
still pay for it, and it's like I don't want it, so why
That's
do I
what
have
I'm
to pay
saying.
for it? Yeah.
You had to pay for it. No, don't do that.
Yeah,
But
we ain't about that life.
I'm just saying it shouldn't have. I didn't want to see that game sell 1 million copies. That's all I'm saying. Like,
Come on, man. You didn't want to see it do well.
like
And
it reminds me of Wii Play.
Well, that's not good.
That was trash.
Utter garbage. But the only reason it sold because it had a Wii remote in it, and that's the only reason people bought it because you couldn't find those
get a
things
Wii remote
anywhere else, right? So it's bullshit.
So way off topic, but somebody in the chat posted something about the Sean Layden from Sony. You know, he's always out on stage at E3, smug dude. Back in June, though, he said something interesting that I'd never heard of. I looked it up. He goes, when you look at the numbers, I think it shows that a lot of gamers are two-console family. And quite often, those two consoles are PlayStation and Nintendo sitting side by side.
True.
I never heard him say that. That's crazy because that's what I have.
I'm more. That's literally my dream situation at that point.
Some people are a 20 console fan household.
Just because you're a fucking nerd, G.
Nerd.
Mm-hmm.
We are gonna wear that shit out. We need to stop.
All right, we gotta end this podcast. It's gone on
Get
way longer than I thought.
I was like, what time is it?
It's 9.
Talk about Xbox.
Oh my god!
I know we've talked way too much about Xbox, but
I know. How dare we?
we've like this 2 weeks in a row. I had nothing except a few small things in mind, and just freeformed it.
And we can't shut the hell up on these podcasts.
So it was fun. I say we just get on out of here, and no final thoughts tonight. We don't have Robert here to tell us about his movie. Anyway,
Tell us about Dark Tower.
Oh god!
What came out this week? Anyway, I forgot.
Can we not do this?
Nope.
Anyway, we're gonna call it. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. The chat's been real active. Everyone seemed to have a lot of input on what we're talking about. So
love you guys. Thank you for joining us every week. We appreciate it.
I'm sorry about the voice explosions. I know that shit get on people's nerves.
It happened 3 times. It's been happening way more. It only happened 3 times a night.
And you don't even have a Mac.
Dr. Blue
a dick, T.
Word up, Dr. Blue. He's like, can we get an MDK2 HD, please? And absolutely, that was my favorite Dreamcast game.
Oh, MDK. Oh,
love that game. It probably doesn't hold up now, but they made it work even without dual analogs. It was a bit tricky, but they made it work.
Soul Reaver 2. Can we get that? Oh,
yeah, that was a PS1 game remastered on Dreamcast.
Amy Pascal, she was in that too.
Someone said it wasn't Pascal, it was like Hanson or something. Or
no, she was pretty heavily involved in that game.
Well, they say you got the last name wrong. Someone said that earlier. I forgot to tell you.
Henning.
It's Henning.
What? Where am I getting Pascal from?
I don't know.
That sounds like a computer related.
Amy Pascal.
Yeah, it's Amy Henning.
Yeah, it's Henning. What the fuck?
Let's see if there is a Pascal.
Who is that? We'll look that up later.
Amy Pascal is an actress.
An actress.
In 58. March 25th, 1958. She looks rough as hell now.
Well, damn.
Yeah.
She was in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Not young.
Huh.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
Oh, God.
She looks rough. She's 9 years old. She looks awful.
Yo,
it's a bad picture. It was just a bad picture. I'll take it back.
That shit
is a terrible
funny
picture.
as fuck.
I'm looking at her filmography. I'm trying to figure out who she is.
Yeah.
I don't recognize her. But anyway,
nobody here watching this podcast.
Nobody involved in video games. That's all we know.
You should have just cut the shit off.
I don't know where I got that from. Sorry, folks. Thanks for fixing that.
Let's get on out of here. We'll see you guys next week for some more nonsense and gaming discussion. See ya.